Chapter 452. Explosion. The entire place exploded. At this moment, Joikai's entire body was surrounded by a bloody mist. It was as if he had returned from purgatory, bringing with him an endless murderous aura. After the black robe dissipated, a light gray windbreaker was revealed. At this moment, the windbreaker was fluttering with the turbulence of the mist. The black clothes inside also seemed to have been activated by the 7 scarlet lines flashing on the body, shining with a bright light. Looking at Joikai's face, it was a handsome face with a hint of evil. At this moment, the pupils in his eyes were red, and the outer iris was black. There were also 7 fine black lines that seemed to cut the eyeballs and rush to the pupils. The most terrifying aura. Behind the 7 pairs of light shadows, 6 black and 1 red, intertwined with a terrifying evil aura. As it swayed slightly, it was as if the entire sky had darkened slightly, causing darkness to descend into the world. Waves of air exploded from Joikai's body. However, no matter how amazing the aura was, everyone present recognized his face. Wang Feng. Joikai was Wang Feng. As early as the moment the black light shield rose, Shrek and the others had already guessed something in their hearts. It was only now that the other party's black robe and mask were all waved away, completely revealing his appearance, that they were completely shocked when they saw the other party's appearance. Other than the master who really knew Wang Feng's identity, the rest, even if they had some guesses in their hearts, didn't dare to be sure because the ability that Joikai displayed was very different from their understanding of Wang Feng. Even Ning Fengji and the sword Douluo were shocked at this moment. They couldn't believe that Joikai was actually Wang Feng. This was too hard to imagine. How could it be the same person? But they didn't expect that it was really the same person, and it was revealed in such a state. At this moment, even a master looked at Wang Feng with a face full of shock. Is it really twin martial souls? The master murmured, Dark Angel Martial Soul Possession, although the master didn't know what martial soul possession Wang Feng was talking about. But obviously, it was a real martial soul, and not the transformed form of the Green Lotus martial soul. Lin Feng actually had a second martial soul, and the situation was probably extremely powerful. That extremely evil and dark aura was about to envelop this space. Huh! Wang Feng shouted softly. The god-slaying spear in his hand shone brightly. The blood-colored patterns on the spear's body surged wildly. Although the 3 forms of the Green Lotus could not coexist, the additional special state was maintained. It was just that there was a time limit. This was different from the soul-devouring blood wings. The soul-devouring blood wings could only be unleashed with the god-slaying spear in hand. On the other hand, the deified soul skill and the thorny lotus were only a special status. At this point, Wang Feng didn't need the mysterious underworld armor. All he needed to do was increase his attributes as much as possible. The deified soul skill increased all attributes by 4 times. The thorny lotus doubled his defense. The soul-devouring blood wings doubled his attributes, and the soul-devouring blood wings doubled his attack power. With the Dark Angel Martial Soul's possession, it would increase all attributes by at least 2-fold. It would also have a supreme perception of the evilest and most evil aura in the world. It would naturally have the effect of intimidating others. In terms of amplification, all of his attributes have been boosted by more than 7 times, and his attack power and defense had been boosted by 9 times. Coupled with the soul power boost from the Golden Lotus, his soul power had reached rank 50. 5th gear was fully unleashed. At this moment, even the 2 titled Douluo were staring at Joikai in astonishment. Strong. His aura was so strong that it was terrifying. The other party's soul power rank wasn't very high, but the aura that he was emitting right now made the 2 of them feel a little fearful. This kind of fear wasn't just because of his strength, but because of his opponent's martial soul. Following Wang Feng's low roar, his 4 Green Lotus soul rings shone from his body one after another. However, because he was using his 4th soul ring, only the last 60,000-year soul ring was shining. Everyone was shocked once again. All black soul rings. A rank 45 soul master with all black soul rings. Even everyone from Shrek was so shocked that they couldn't speak. Wang Feng's first soul ring should only be a 1,000-year soul ring. How to become black too? If they hadn't seen Wang Feng's current appearance, they wouldn't have dared to believe that this was the Wang Feng that they were familiar with and saw every day. Duan run, catch this kid. I'll go and catch the other one. The two titled Dalu roared as they looked into the sky. Tang Hao's hammer was almost complete, and the Pope had led the six titled Dalu to block it. If they didn't take this opportunity to catch the other party, they wouldn't have another chance. Duan Ren and Demonic Wind were the names of these two titled Dalu. No matter how strong Wang Feng was, the two of them didn't plan to deal with one person at the same time. He was a rank 40 soul master, and no matter how hard he tried, he could barely reach the strength of a titled Dalu, right? In addition, the black defensive barrier had completely disappeared, so they naturally split into two paths. The two titled Dalu's 9 soul rings lit up. The demonic wind Douluo charged directly towards Tang San. His martial soul was a demonic wind leopard, and it had extremely high explosive speed. To prevent any accidents, he directly activated his martial soul true body and turned into a huge green-black demonic wind leopard. He charged in front of Shrek and the others. At this moment, emptiness, with the demonic wind titled Douluo's speed, almost no one present could react in time. However, Wang Feng directly entered the emptiness state. With his current strength, even a titled Daluo could catch him when he entered the emptiness state. Whoosh! A black shadow flashed. The Duan Run Daluo, who was charging towards Wang Feng, didn't even have time to react. Although he was a titled Daluo, speed wasn't his forte. There was a loud rumble. The sky exploded, and the demonic wind Daluo was directly sent flying. Several wounds appeared on his body. They were wounds from the god-slaying spear. When the emptiness state was activated, the stronger one would be after entering the emptiness state. When Wang Feng entered the emptiness state with his second gear strength as a 6-ring soul emperor, the difference in speed was too great. He was almost able to stop Tang San and the others, and time seemed to have stopped. With Wang Feng's current 5th gear strength, even Fred and the other teachers seemed to have stopped when he entered the emptiness state. However, it wasn't enough to stop a titled Dalu, especially one with a speed-type martial soul like the demonic wind leopard. However, it was just that he couldn't stop. His speed in the emptiness state was not inferior to the demonic wind Dalu's. Even Dugu Bo couldn't see what had happened in that instant. The demonic wind Dalu, who had activated his martial soul true body, was directly sent flying. Only the sword Dalu, who had several soul rings on his body, saw it clearly. Wang Feng's speed was too fast. In an instant, he was in front of Shrek and the others. He directly sent the demonic wind Dalu flying with his spear. The blade of the spear flashed with cold light, and more than 10 spears were sent flying in an instant. If not for the demonic wind Daluo's quick reaction, there would be more injuries on his body. Go! Wang Feng shouted in a low voice. His words were directed at Little Three. After speaking, a light flashed in Wang Feng's hand. He quickly threw the 4 soul bones and the soul bone he obtained from Shern Yin to Tang San and the others. After that, he charged towards the demonic wind Daluo again. End of chapter. Chapter 453. On the other side, Broken Blade also reacted abruptly. Shrek and the others quickly reacted and retreated. Suddenly, the two titled Dalu charged towards Wang Feng. The two of them now understood that this kid seemed to be ridiculously strong. If they didn't catch and deal with this kid first, they probably wouldn't be able to catch that soul beast and Tang San. Then let's capture him first. The demonic wind Dalu used his soul power to seal off the multiple gunshot wounds on his body as he endured the intense pain. As a titled Dalu, he had already gone through countless battles. However, this wound was very strange, and it directly attacked his soul. Even though he forcefully used his soul power to seal the wound, the pain didn't disappear. Furthermore, his soul power was still being drained, and the fear in his heart was gradually increasing. If this continued, he would probably lose his ability to fight before long. However, he was still able to endure it. The Douluo didn't say anything. Instead, a cold light flashed in his hand, and his broken blade suddenly transformed into a terrifying blade that was several dozen meters long. The broken blade, which had revealed its martial soul true body, slashed towards Wang Feng. Wang Feng held his spear and stood there without fear. The 7 pairs of light wings on his back flashed, and he turned into a stream of light. Swish! Swish! In the void realm state, dozens of intertwining lights erupted in almost a second. If the 2 of them were 3 levels stronger, they would be as powerful as the Douluo, and Wang Feng wouldn't have been able to resist them. However, these 2 were only around rank 92 and were considered ordinary Douluo. With his 5th stage power, he could attempt to block it. Of course, he wouldn't be able to kill them instantly. A titled Douluo was too strong. Even a normal Dalu wouldn't be more than rank 50 with his soul power. There was a difference of more than 40 ranks in soul power and 5 soul skills. There was no way he could have insta-killed her. It was extremely difficult to kill them. They could only rely on the god-slaying spear to inflict a large number of injuries on them. Furthermore, Wang Feng couldn't casually switch back to his green lotus state. If he switched back to his red lotus state and used his karmic fire, he wouldn't be able to use his soul-killing spear and soul-devouring bloodwing soul skills. His strength would be greatly reduced. Even a titled Dalu could use their powerful strength to forcefully seal the god-slaying spear's injuries, preventing them from spreading. However, they could not heal them either. Furthermore, with the effect of Blood Devour, the more they fought, the more their strength decreased. With the Void Realm and the ability to fly, Wang Feng was able to dodge most of their attacks. Wang Feng didn't underestimate the strength of a titled Dalu, so he didn't dare to hide anything. He didn't use the Pango axe so that he could still escape later. This was because Tang Hao's hammer strike would severely injure all 7 titled Dalu, including BB Don. At that time, it would be his chance to escape. Wang Feng only needed to hold off these 2 titled Dalu for a short period of time. At this time, the retreating Shrek and the others were even more shocked. The sword Douluo and Ning Fengji were also completely dumbstruck. Is he really Wang Feng? Ning Fengji's voice trembled slightly. Fighting 2 titled Douluo alone? And from the looks of it, he's not at a disadvantage? The sword Douluo rubbed his eyes. 2 years ago, this brat was able to withstand 3 kicks from him without using any soul power. It hasn't even been 3 years, but he can already fight 2 titled Douluo on his own? What kind of monster is this kid? The sword Douluo murmured. Even though these 2 titled Douluo were the weakest in the Martial Soul Palace, they were only around rank 92. But they were still titled Douluo. A soul ancestor over rank 40 could fight 2 titled Douluo on his own. If news of this got out, the entire continent would go crazy. What do you plan to do, Fengji? The sword Douluo looked at the 3 streaks of light on the plaza. The 10-meter-long broken blade shattered the plaza almost every time it attacked, leaving a long scar. Save him, but the Martial Soul Palace will never let him go. This talent was too terrifying. No wonder this brat could win the entire tournament with a 9-to-1 ratio. He actually hid such a powerful strength. But the more this was the case, the more Pope BB Don would not let him go. I don't know. We'll see. If there's a chance, we can't let this brat die. Ning Fengji gritted his teeth. He could not imagine how monstrous this kind of genius would be when he grew up. Vast Heaven Douluo? Sorry, but with this brat's strength at such a young age, even 3 Vast Heaven Douluos might not be able to catch up to him. Even in the history of the continent, there was no precedent of someone who could fight titled Douluo consecutively before the age of 15. The more he looked, the more shocked he was. The same was true for Shrek and the others. As they retreated from the plaza around Tang San and Xiaowu, they were also shocked by the fact that Wang Feng was fighting 2 titled Douluo alone. Even Grandmaster, who knew Wang Feng the most, was extremely shocked. This was even more shocking than seeing his idol, Tang Hao. In the world of soul masters, Grandmaster admired Tang Hao the most. He dared to go against the martial Soul Palace alone. But at this moment, when he saw Wang Feng, who turned into streaks of light and fought with two titled Douluo in the plaza, he was shocked and even admired him. He was not even 15 years old. A 15-year-old child defeated two titled Douluo, but at this moment, the group was extremely silent. They did not say a word. They only seized the time to retreat because the sky had already darkened. In the center of the plaza, in a second, the three of them seemed to have exchanged dozens of blows. The more Mo Feng and Broken Blade fought, the more injuries they suffered. They released their soul rings again and again, but they could not hurt Wang Feng. They could only hurt Wang Feng when they used their 8th and 9th soul skills. However, even titled Dalu like them could not use these soul skills consecutively. Wang Feng was still slightly injured. Broken Blade Dalu's 8th and 9th soul skills were single-target soul skills that had extremely powerful lock-on abilities. Even the Void Realm, Wang Feng was unable to completely evade them. In addition, the Demon Wind Dalu was also attacking, so Wang Feng was naturally able to completely evade them. After all, the difference in soul power was simply too great. Furthermore, these two titled Dalu were not weak. Neither of them was inferior to Douluo. In terms of one-on-one combat, they were far superior to Douluo. However, they were only slightly injured, and it did not affect Wang Feng in the slightest. In contrast, the two titled Dalu were sustaining more and more injuries. They did not have Air Ming's powerful life force, and once the God-slaying spear's injuries piled up, it could not be sealed. In particular, the pain was unavoidable. Their powers would be drastically reduced, and they would die a slow death. As such, the more they fought, the more fearful the two titled Dalu became. In just a few seconds, the three of them had exchanged dozens of blows. Not only were they unable to defeat Tang San, they were also being temporarily suppressed by him. In particular, every time they clashed, the two titled Dalu were struck by a sense of fear toward their opponent's martial soul. If this continued, it was likely that Tang San would really be able to escape. Use a combination skill. The Demon Wind gritted his teeth. Take care of him with one attack. Broken Blade nodded. If this continued, they would only become more and more miserable. All 9 of their soul rings suddenly lit up, and their 9th soul ring lit up once again. Wind Demon Broken Blade slash. The two of them roared, and the demonic wind leopard martial soul true body leaped high into the air. It turned into a shadow and jumped directly onto the Broken Blade. In an instant, the Broken Blade turned pitch black, and countless green patterns appeared on the blade's body. The blade slashed down, and it seemed to have pierced through space to lock onto Wang Feng. Chapter 454. Wang Feng was astonished. Damn, titled Douluo are indeed impressive. They still have such a combination soul skill, even in such a state. This wasn't a true martial soul fusion skill. It was more like a combination of soul skills. This was because both of them were using their 9th soul skills. However, it was normal, as titled Dalu, who didn't have some trump cards. In the void state, Wang Feng's skull shone. His spiritual perception had reached the limit as he tried to dodge this attack. However, it was a pity that this was still a titled Dalu's trump card. Quick, too quick. Even the Void Realm, Wang Feng couldn't dodge it completely. Light flashed. Wang Feng shouted. At this crucial moment, the 2 spears in his hands shot out 2 streaks of bloody light at the two titled Dalu. Since he couldn't dodge, Wang Feng could only make use of this opportunity to hurt his enemies. Boom! There was a huge explosion. The two titled Dalu had just released their 9th soul skills and used a combination soul skill. They couldn't dodge in time and were hit by the god-slaying spear's bloody blade. Blood splattered everywhere. At the same time, Wang Feng's position exploded. Most of Wang Feng's robe had been cut into pieces by the broken blade. There were dozens of wounds on his body, and blood was gushing out. I've underestimated title. Wang Feng snorted coldly. His entire body was shaken by this attack. However, his wounds were recovering very quickly. Because of the blood-devouring effect, He could absorb the soul power and life energy of the two titled Dalu. As long as he was still fighting, he would only become stronger. However, he couldn't sustain his spiritual power. The Void Realm was very taxing on one's spiritual power and physical body. The eruption of this kind of super potential was burning an endless amount of energy every second. Wang Feng's physical body could still withstand it. However, his spiritual power was being depleted very quickly. If not for the spiritual power released by the Black Bandit spiritual skull, he wouldn't have been able to enter the Void Realm now. As the light dissipated, the two titled Dalu were sprawled on the ground. They were very pale. He could have dodged the god-slaying spear's bloody light, but he was too injured. In addition, he had just used a soul skill. It was almost impossible for him to dodge in time. He was almost hit by the full attack, which caused a lot of damage. He had almost lost his ability to fight now. Furthermore, his injuries were worsening with every second. Wang Feng also appeared to be covered in blood, but in reality, it was just that he had expended too much of his spiritual power. His injuries were not serious. Furthermore, he had sufficient soul power. If he had used the Pangu axe, these two titled Dalu might have died. However, Wang Feng probably wouldn't have much soul power left. However, when the rest of the people saw this scene, their hearts skipped a beat. There was no other way. Seeing Wang Feng covered in blood and wounds, on the verge of collapsing, anyone would think that he was seriously injured. Wang Feng, Ning Rongrong screamed as tears streamed down her face. She wanted to rush over, but Lu Erlong held her back. No matter how hard she struggled, she couldn't get out. That was because Tang Hao's clear sky hammer had already descended. However, Lu Erlong managed to grab one, but not the second. It was Zhu Zhuqing. It was too fast. She almost rushed out at the first moment. Like a fairy, she wanted to rush to Wang Feng's side. Right at this moment, rumble, there was a muffled sound in the sky, as if the entire world was trembling. In midair, Tang Hao spat out a mouthful of blood, but he didn't stop. He turned into a gust of wind and descended towards Shrek and the others. He didn't give them any time to react and directly took away Tang San and Xiao Wu. Finally, Tang Hao took a deep look at where Wang Feng was. He knew that he didn't have time to take Xiao Feng away, because once he went over, he wouldn't be able to leave at all. Then, the time that Xiao Feng had bought for them and his injuries would be completely wasted. At this time, the seven figures also landed not far in front of Wang Feng. They were almost smashing down hard. Every time one of them landed, a deep pit would be created in the plaza. Only Bibi Dong barely managed to land on her feet. However, her complexion was also very pale. It was obvious that she had suffered quite a bit of injury from blocking Tang Hao's hammer strike. Looking at Tang Shan and Xiao Wu, who had disappeared from Shrek's group, Bibidan's expression became even worse. She roared and ignored Shrek's group. Instead, she turned to look at Wang Feng and Zhu Zhuqing, who had just rushed to Wang Feng's side. It was this kid. If it weren't for him, Tang San and the soul beast that escaped back then would have been left behind. Because in that situation, Tang Hao had used his martial soul, true body, and ninth soul skill to destroy the Pontus Palace, and he himself could take any attack. The two titled Dalu could have left Tang San and the soul beast behind, and they could have attacked and even killed Tang Hao. It could be said that they had killed two birds with one stone. But now, everything was ruined by this 911. How could she tolerate that? When she sent people to assassinate Tang San, not only did they fail, but the two soul Dalu who returned were still not healed. They were even on the verge of death. They also lost many soul masters, which shocked Bibi Dawn. Logically speaking, even if they failed, they shouldn't have lost so badly. They even lost 2 soul Douluo and 4 soul emperors. What did that mean? Bibi Dawn was very cautious because of that. Originally, the Pontiff's Palace had only prepared 7 titled Dalu to deal with Tang Hao. Because of the failure of this assassination, they lost 2 soul Douluo and 4 soul emperors. So Bibi Dawn sent 2 more titled Douluo just in case. Wang Feng probably didn't expect that Bibi Dawn would send these 2 titled Dalu, because he had killed 4 soul emperors and injured 2 soul Douluo on the way here. This peck and drink could be said to be predestined. Bibidon shook the ground with the scepter in his hand, and he instantly disappeared and attacked Wang Feng. Fast, extremely fast. Even Wang Feng, who was in the Void Realm, couldn't react at all. Bibidon had a 100,000-year soul ring. Even if he was injured, Wang Feng couldn't compare to him at all. Wang Feng's expression changed. He couldn't dodge at all. He could only take advantage of this short moment to step out and push Zhu Zhuqing a few meters away. He didn't expect Zhu Zhuqing to rush over after seeing the blood and injuries all over his body. Boom! Bibidon's scepter struck Wang Feng's chest directly. Splat! Wang Feng was thrown back more than 10 meters. He spat out blood, but he still managed to stand on the ground. His robe was torn, and the dark and evil aura was becoming stronger and stronger. Too strong. Bibidon's abilities are at least that of an ultimate Douluo. Even if he's injured, he can't resist him. The meteoric tear in his heart surged with power and repaired his body. Bibidon used the meteoric tear to its maximum in one move. He's not dead. Bibidon's pupil shrank. She looked at the 2 injured titled Douluo, and there was endless astonishment in her eyes. He fought against 2 titled Douluo on a 9-to-1 basis. But he's not dead after taking 1 move from me? Bibidon couldn't believe it. Even though she didn't use much of her strength because she was injured, her scepter should have been able to shatter his heart meridians. But he's not dead. Bibidon didn't know that her scepter had struck Wang Feng's toughest spot, the meteoric tear in his heart. However, Bibidon didn't hesitate. A cold light flashed in her eyes, and she swung her scepter again. But at this moment, Zhu Zhuqing, who had been pushed away, took advantage of Bibidon's momentary shock to stand in front of Wang Feng. Chapter 455. As he had never used a spear before, Wang Feng had always treated the weapon in his hand as a tool to attack his enemies. The god-slaying spear had all sorts of powerful attacking effects, but Wang Feng had never paid attention to the god-slaying spear itself. The god-slaying spear itself is extremely powerful. I paid too much attention to its additional abilities and neglected the fact that it is a spear. When I was fighting against the 2 titled Douluo, many of my attacks were ineffective. I only relied on my powerful state to inflict a lot of injuries on them. Wang Feng shook his head. If I continue to practice in my current state and understand more of the spear's abilities and techniques, I can do better and save more soul power. The sudden enlightenment just now gave Wang Feng a deeper understanding of the spear's usage. Spears required skills. After comprehending the spear's techniques, I should be able to create my own unique technique. Wang Feng pondered. It's similar to the disorder splitting wind hammer technique, but that's a hammer technique. He had to learn how to use a spear before he could comprehend it. Of course, Wang Feng would not modify the disorder splitting wind hammer technique. That was not suitable for spears at all. Furthermore, that kind of hammer technique was too troublesome. It's best if the spear can kill in 1 shot. 1 shot is the greatest power. Can I condense all the techniques and comprehension into 1 shot? Wang Feng muttered. With a rough idea, Wang Feng practiced his spear techniques in this ice valley while thinking about what kind of godly spear technique he should create. Wang Feng did not want to create a wuxia type of spear technique. It was too troublesome and not suitable. He wanted to create a spear technique of a higher level. Another month later, most of the ice crystal pillars in the ice valley had been pierced into pieces by Wang Feng. Wang Feng had become more familiar with the usage of the spear. Vaguely, Wang Feng could feel that something was different. Wang Feng felt that this kind of improvement was very slow, because he was no longer an ordinary person. Perhaps an ordinary person might not be able to improve as fast as him even after practicing for a few years. But Wang Feng thought about how he had the spiritual skull now. His spiritual power had increased greatly, and his physical fitness could be considered half a superhuman in his previous life. His understanding of various weapons, understanding of his own body structure, and grasping all kinds of knowledge were naturally very fast. Although he had zero foundation in the spear and didn't even know the basic spear techniques, he was still able to control the spear. However, Wang Feng was still somewhat dissatisfied with the fact that he had only grasped the various techniques of the spear in a month. He had only managed to faintly comprehend a little bit of the concept. Moreover, there was already a bottleneck. Wang Feng felt that no matter how much he practiced, he would not make any progress. In that case, let's fight and find a 40 to 50,000 year soul beast, or even a soul beast of an even higher rank. Let's see if I can make a breakthrough in my understanding of the spear without using any soul skills. Create a real spear technique? Wang Feng took a deep breath. 10,000-year soul beasts weren't rare in the outer regions, and Wang Feng had encountered quite a few of them. However, there were relatively few 10,000-year soul beasts. There should be a lot of them in the inner circle of the extreme north. If he didn't use any soul skills and only used the mysterious underworld spike to form a spear, his strength would be equivalent to a rank 60 soul warrior. Once second gear was activated, even if he didn't use the void realm, he would still be able to match a rank 70 soul master. Of course, this was only a simple comparison of strength. With Wang Feng's performance, he could easily win. However, it would be very difficult for him to defeat a 10,000-year soul beast with the strength of first gear without using any soul skills. For a rank 60 soul master, this was something that was almost impossible. Back then, Wang Feng had to use the power of the Pangu axe to kill the 60,000-year-old blood-winged dragon beetle with 3 chops. That was the strength of the peak of 6 gear. Now that he was much stronger, it would be difficult for him to only use first gear and kill it with his spear. However, Wang Feng didn't hesitate. On a new day, he walked out of the wooden house and used his skull's sensory soul skill to quickly sense the strong soul beasts around him. After walking for about 2 to 3 kilometers in the outer circle, Wang Feng finally found a 10,000-year soul beast. It should be a 60,000-year soul beast, and it should be the more violent type. Windwing Blizzard Crocodile. Wang Feng knew that this type of soul beast was violent and bloodthirsty. It controlled wind and ice, and was a very good type of soul beast for soul masters. It was about 5 meters long and 2 meters tall, and was similar to a normal crocodile. It had a pair of green wings on its back, and its wings were about 4 to 5 meters long. Its entire body was covered with a layer of icicles, and its eyes were green and red. In the outer regions of the extreme north, it should be considered a small overlord. Wang Feng sealed the 3 martial souls in his body. The mysterious underworld spike also turned into a spear. Since he wanted to improve his spear skills through extreme battles, he couldn't use his martial soul or soul skills. Almost a year had passed. When Wang Feng faced a 60,000-year soul beast, he was still a rank 40 soul master and had to use his 6th gear Pangu axe. Now that he was facing a 60,000-year soul beast again, Wang Feng only used first gear, and it was very dangerous. This violent blood crocodile wasn't as big as the blood-winged dragon beetle. However, it was also because of this that this violent blood crocodile was faster, and it was easier for it to dodge the enemy's attacks. At this moment, the originally white sky suddenly flashed with dark clouds, and lightning flashed occasionally. Oh, the weather isn't good? Wang Feng was astonished. It's rare to see such thunderclouds in the extreme north, but it doesn't matter. Wang Feng took a deep breath and concentrated. He held the spear formed by the mysterious underworld spike tightly in his hand and looked at the wind-winged blizzard crocodile 100 meters away. Although it wasn't big, it was only small compared to the blood-winged dragon beetle, which was comparable to 2 football fields. In fact, this beast was still a huge monster to Wang Feng. Because he had to face the wind-winged blizzard crocodile, Wang Feng didn't even use his skull's Shadowma soul skill. He walked out of the room with his back straight. The wind-winged blizzard crocodile was speechless. It noticed Wang Feng almost immediately and was stunned for a moment. Soul masters rarely appeared in the extreme north. It was a 60,000-year soul beast, and it was an overlord in the outer regions. Normal soul masters would run away when they saw it. Who would dare to walk over? A 10,000-year soul beast had intelligence that wasn't inferior to a human, let alone a 60,000-year soul beast. The moment it saw Wang Feng, it was first stunned, then it became angry. Roar! Seeing this, the violent snow crocodile roared. Its legs shook the ground, and countless icicles swept towards Wang Feng. The icicles were at least 3 to 4 meters tall, and they emerged from the snow. They were extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, they were in front of Wang Feng. Wang Feng's eyes flashed, and he gathered strength in his palm. In a flash, the tip of his spear stabbed forward. Boom! The icicle was directly pierced and exploded, but his entire body was also sent flying high into the air by the force of the explosion. The violent snow crocodile didn't give Wang Feng a chance to catch his breath. It didn't expect this human to be able to block a normal attack. It quickly condensed several balls of icy light in its mouth, and then shot them at Wang Feng. End of chapter. Chapter 456. This ball of light was faster than the ice thorns just now. There were a total of 3, and they came out from its mouth and attacked from 3 different angles. Wang Feng, who had just landed on the ground, frowned when he saw the icy ball of light coming. In a short moment, Wang Feng channeled his soul power to the surface of the spear and flicked it lightly, directly deflecting one of the balls of light. Then, with the rebound force, the spear tip turned and deflected the other 2 balls of light. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 icy balls of light exploded, blasting out countless icicles. The place where they landed was blown into a pit more than 10 meters deep, and the surrounding trees of ice and snow were directly blown away. The power was extremely powerful. Ordinary soul masters over rank 60 would find it difficult to withstand. Although the balls of light were deflected, Wang Feng still suffered some of the aftermath of the explosion. Fortunately, his physical fitness was strong. Even if it was only first grade, he was no longer a rank 40 soul master. Taking advantage of this aftermath, Wang Feng rushed directly toward the blizzard crocodile. The blizzard crocodile obviously didn't expect that this soul master with low soul power fluctuations could easily dodge its attack and even attack it. It became even angrier. Because of the snow, the speed of ordinary soul masters would be greatly affected, but Wang Feng had long been used to it, and his body was light. At this time, using the aftermath of the explosion to rush over, there were no footprints in the snow, as if he was flying. A cold light flashed in the eyes of the blizzard crocodile. The terrifying power of a 60,000-year soul beast was released, but Wang Feng had the black hoop spiritual skull and was not affected at all. His speed did not decrease, but increased. Whoosh! Even the pressure was useless. This huge blizzard crocodile's eyes flashed with a cold light, and with a swing of its tail, it swept directly toward Wang Feng. Its tail was at least 2 meters long, slender, and full of dense icicles. The barbs also exuded a cold light. Once hit, even if one didn't die, they would be crippled. Wang Feng looked at the sweeping tail and jumped lightly. He directly jumped several meters high and attacked the wings of the blizzard crocodile with his spear. However, at this moment, the green wings of the blizzard crocodile seemed to have turned into ice crystals and shook violently. Wang Feng's spear tip pierced the back wings of the blizzard crocodile. He only felt that the wings were extremely hard, several times harder than the ice crystal pillars in the ice valley. It was difficult to penetrate. Then, the tail of the blizzard crocodile directly reversed and swung toward Wang Feng's back. Bang! In midair, Wang Feng had no choice but to place his spear behind his back and barely block the attack. Bang! The huge force of the tail instantly sent Wang Feng flying. He landed in the snow far away, creating a snow pit. First-grade strength against a 60,000-year soul, it's too difficult. The long spear formed by the Xianming spike is unable to cause any damage to him. Wang Feng got up and coughed a few times. Even though he had used a spear to block the attack just now and had managed to dissipate a portion of its strength, the attack of a 60,000-year soul beast wasn't that simple. But he was fine. Let's continue. I don't believe that it's impossible. Wang Feng rushed forward again. He wanted to use this battle to hone his special spear skills, and this wind-winged blizzard crocodile was a very good choice, although it was very dangerous. However, Wang Feng was not afraid because he had the meteoric tear. The battle continued. In a real battle, Wang Feng was able to use the various spear techniques that he had comprehended in the past months smoothly. His comprehension was also increasing. However, he still couldn't break through the blizzard crocodile's defense. As an ice-type soul beast, the blizzard crocodile was covered in hard icicles except for its wings. Its defense was extremely high. Even a rank 70 soul master might not be able to cause effective damage to it. While its wings looked weak in battle, they could become extremely hard in time, making it very difficult to deal with. Therefore, the more he fought, the more injuries Wang Feng had on his body. However, he became more and more proficient in using the spear. Every spear could accurately hit the blizzard crocodile, stabbing and blocking from various angles. He didn't hold back at all. The blizzard crocodile became angrier as it fought. This human soul master was obviously not strong, but it couldn't kill him. One annoying beast. To it, Wang Feng was about the size of a cat. Although he couldn't cause any harm by jumping around, it was still very annoying. It seemed to be a little angry. The green wings on the blizzard crocodile's back suddenly emitted an intense light and flapped fiercely. A terrifying hurricane suddenly swept towards Wang Feng. The hurricane's momentum was difficult to resist. This hurricane instantly uprooted the snow and trees on the ground. Although Wang Feng had the mysterious underworld armor, he was still directly blown high into the air. He couldn't help but be startled. Although his body was injured at this time, it wasn't a big problem. He had been trying out his spear skills, and there were some faint signs. However, he still felt that it wasn't enough. At this time, the blizzard crocodile suddenly showed its power, and it seemed to intend to do it for real. At this time, the thunderclouds in the sky flickered, and sometimes lightning streaked across the sky. The momentum was astonishing. Seeing Wang Feng being blown away, the blizzard crocodile's wings flapped rapidly. The terrifying hurricane made it impossible for Wang Feng to stabilize his body. Then its body shook, and several icy balls of light exploded in the air toward Wang Feng. Boom, boom, boom. Several icy balls of light exploded around Wang Feng's body. Naturally, Wang Feng's body was covered in wounds. The strength of a 60,000-year-old beast was not to be underestimated. It almost didn't give Wang Feng any chance, and several balls of light exploded in succession. Moreover, the hurricane also formed countless wind blades, cutting through the air. Every time they cut through the air, Wang Feng's body would be left with a faint scar. Wang Feng barely used his spear to resist while thinking of countermeasures. If he opened second gear or casually used a soul skill, he could get through this difficult situation. I want to use a spear. Otherwise, what's the point? Wang Feng murmured, I want to create my own spear skill. Closing his eyes, Wang Feng relied on his perception and barely used the spear in his hand to resist the attacks of the wind blades and light balls in the air. At this time, the purple lightning in the sky suddenly spread out in the distance, exploding into a terrifying electric flower. In an instant, it caused a big tree in the distance to explode, and then the sound of thunder could be heard. Wang Feng suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the rolling thunderclouds in the sky, feeling the fierce hurricane from the blizzard crocodile's wings. Wind, thunder. Wind is invisible and omnipresent. Thunder is strong, condensed but not released. The power of wind and thunder. If the two can be combined, the invisible eruption of the strongest tangible power condensed in an instant. So mysterious, but I think I understand something. Wang Feng took a deep breath. His brain seemed to be in a state of extreme operation, and his skull was glowing. At this moment, all the experiences of the past 2 lives flashed through Wang Feng's mind, turning into countless thoughts in the next moment. Wang Feng suddenly gathered his spear and pointed it at the sky like a lightning rod. His soul power endlessly poured into the spear. Boom! The purple lightning in the sky suddenly struck down and directly fell into the spear, bathing Wang Feng's whole body in purple lightning. The thunderclouds and lightning were the power of nature. Although it did not contain any other energy, it was still not something that ordinary creatures could bear. But at this time, Wang Feng's eyes were clear and bright. Under the lightning, Wang Feng's eyes shook, and his hand slowly moved the spear in a mysterious trajectory. The hurricane that the blizzard crocodile blew out seemed to be under Wang Feng's control. It made Wang Feng stand upright in the air. The hurricane turned into a tornado, sweeping around Wang Feng's body. It even had faint flashes of lightning. The blizzard crocodile roared. It did not know what was going on. This spear uses the wind and thunder of heaven and earth as the power, and the experiences of all lives as the divine thoughts. It will be called Wind, Thunder, Absolute God Spear Technique. Eat my spear. In the air, the spear in Wang Feng's hand flashed with lightning, and the wind whistled. Vaguely, the world seemed to have darkened, and the sky was flickering with lightning. A terrifying thought condensed in Wang Feng's mind. Borrowing the power of wind and thunder, he pierced through the heavy attacks of the blizzard crocodile from the sky. Like a green and purple light, it fell on the blizzard crocodile's body with a lightning-like trajectory. Boom! The terrifying explosion caused the surrounding snow to collapse. A mournful and unwilling roar came from the mouth of the wind-winged blizzard crocodile. At night, there will be end of chapter. Chapter 457. With that figure as the center, all the trees in front of him were crushed to pieces. A vacuum was formed. Wang Feng did not turn around to escape, because it was meaningless. What kind of concept was a level? 99 Peerless Douluo. He was infinitely close to the level of world god Douluo. Even Ming and Air Ming would have to rest if they were here. Wang Feng knew that it was impossible for him to escape from this peerless Douluo in his current state. The moment the other party came down, Wang Feng knew that he had been completely locked on. Wang Feng was very calm. He had used up all his trump cards, but he was also waiting. He could not escape what was to come. Wang Feng slowly walked out and sized up the old man 100 meters away. The old man was wearing a light golden robe. His snow-white hair was very long and slightly covered his face. However, when the breeze brushed his white hair, his old face could be clearly seen. He was tall and straight, at least 9 meters tall. His golden eyes emitted a divine light as he calmly looked at Wang Feng. Even in the original work, Wang Feng did not know much about the Thousand Daos flow. Wang Feng did not read much of the original work and only knew the general relationship between the characters. Wang Feng did not know what kind of person he was. At this moment, looking at one of the 3 peerless Douluo in the Douluo world, Wang Feng suddenly smiled. Why are you smiling? The Thousand Daos flow seemed to be interested in Wang Feng. Although he looked old, his voice was still vigorous and clear. Senior, are you here to kill me? Wang Feng took a few steps forward and said slowly. Hearing that, the Thousand Daos flow was slightly stunned. He said indifferently, since you know your own limits, why don't you kill yourself? Senior, why do you want to kill me? However, Wang Feng turned a deaf ear and continued to ask, is it because I'm not from the martial spirit hall and offended you? Or because I offended you because of my martial spirit? Wang Feng did not remember much about the Thousand Daos flow. However, he vaguely remembered that this old monster had always been hiding behind a martial spirit hall and rarely appeared. In the original work, Tang Hao came to the martial spirit hall to cause trouble, but he did not care. Moreover, Wang Feng vaguely remembered that the Thousand Daos flow seemed to have chased after Tang Hao. Why did the Thousand Daos flow not make a move when Tang Hao came to cause trouble in the original work? It was such a good opportunity. In Wang Feng's mind, it should be that the 1,000 streams wanted to use Tang Hao to beat up the BB Dawn. Then, why did he want to kill him? He did not even care that Tang Hao was looking for trouble. Why did he want to kill him? It could only be because of his martial soul. Both. Qin Dalu stood in place with his hands behind his back. If you only offended the martial spirit palace, you offended her. It has nothing to do with me. However, I have never seen or heard of your martial spirit. But with such a dark and evil angel martial spirit, my angel clan must exterminate you. Thousand Daos Flow seemed to be interested in Wang Feng and did not intend to kill him directly. In other words, Wang Feng's performance in the martial spirit palace had piqued his interest. Hearing this, Wang Feng remembered Douluo's identity. He was from the angel tribe and had the angel martial soul. However, he did not have the right to inherit the position of God. He was only a guide for the angel tribe. He worshipped the angel god and was considered a protector. Only the Qianren Xue with the six-winged angel martial soul was qualified to inherit the position of angel god. This was probably why Qianren Xue was the only one who could sense his presence back in the Heaven Do Empire. From his point of view, Dalu did have a reason to kill him. But logically speaking, this dark angel martial soul was forcefully given to him by the system. No, Wang Feng suddenly said, "Senior, may I ask if your angel tribe has any records of my angel martial soul?" Hearing this, Dalu was stunned. There really was no such record. To be precise, Wang Feng's dark angel martial soul probably did not exist in the Douluo world. If there really was one, there would have been a bunch of evil forces that opposed the martial spirit palace, such as the Dark Soul Palace and the Holy Spirit sect that worship dark angels. But in the current Douluo world, it seemed that there was no such thing. Wang Feng had never heard of it in history. This meant that Wang Feng's dark angel martial soul had never appeared in the Douluo world. Or perhaps the angel god had not fallen into darkness? What if my martial soul is a mutation of the angel tribe? Wang Feng suddenly laughed. We are all from the angel tribe. At that time, I might be able to bring glory to the angel tribe. Senior should also be able to see that my angel martial soul is not weak. In the future, I might even become a god. At that time, my angel tribe will definitely bring glory to the entire continent and give the future generations more choices. Isn't that so? As for dark evil, Senior, forgive me for being blunt, but these are just two different attributes. Wang Feng continued slowly. Moreover, my angel martial soul has never appeared in the history of the angel tribe. Senior, are you planning to kill me just like that? I am the only descendant of a mutated angel. Wang Feng did not care whether the other party was Dalu or not. She was different from Bibi Dong, who was ruthless and arrogant. For people like Bibi Dong, they wanted to kill you without even seeing you. It's impossible for you to fool and convince her. And this Dalu had no enmity with him. To a certain extent, he had saved his precious granddaughter. Although Dalu was also a member of the Martial Spirit Palace, she did not care about the affairs of the world. Qianren Xue was Bibidon's daughter, but their mother-daughter relationship was almost non-existent. Therefore, Wang Feng decided to give it a try. The holy light and the evil darkness are just two different types of energy. Wang Feng kept talking like a cannon. If you use it for evil, you will be evil. If you use it for holy, you will be holy. I believe the angel tribe that Senior belongs to should not have a hard and fast rule that states that you must kill a mutated dark angel martial soul like me, right? It was impossible for there to be such a rule, because Wang Feng was the first person to possess this kind of dark angel martial soul. It had never appeared before. So how could there be a rule? Dalu was stunned by Wang Feng's words. Thinking about it, it made sense. Because in history, there had never been a dark angel martial soul like Wang Feng. There was not even a similar one. Naturally, there was no such rule. Previously, Bibidon warned him because he felt that this kind of dark angel martial soul must not be allowed to appear. That was why he chased after it. This was actually a subjective misconception of thinking. But now, this brat's words actually made some sense. Ha ha, Dalu laughed. Brat, you are very smart. My angel tribe does not have this kind of martial soul. There is no such rule. I am indeed interested in your kind of martial soul. How could he not be interested? This thing was the only one in the continent. It was soul-bound. There was only one of its kind. Not to mention that he was a member of the angel tribe. It was not impossible to capture him and study him first. Why did he have to kill him? So, Wang Feng slowly asked. So I still have to kill you, Dalu said indifferently. Because it is impossible for you to join the Martial Spirit Palace, and it is impossible for you to become a member of my angel tribe. Wang Feng. Chapter 458. F***. This old man is not that easy to fool. Wang Feng shrugged. He did not expect to be able to fool him with just a few words. All he was doing was stalling for time. Seems like you've accepted your fate. Qian Daoliu's eyes flashed with golden light. His aura surged as if he was going to destroy Wang Feng in the next moment. But at this moment, another beam of golden light descended from the distance. It landed not far in front of Wang Feng. The person was wearing a snow-white robe. Her golden hair fluttered in the wind. Although Wang Feng could not see her face, he knew who she was just by looking at her back. Qian Rinxue. Wang Feng knew that Qian Rinxue would appear when he used the Dark Angel Martial Soul, because he could sense it. However, in the Pontiff's palace, Qian Rinxue was by Ning Fengji's side as Shueqinghe. It was not appropriate for him to appear. Grandpa, you can't kill him, Qian Rinxue said softly to Qian Dalu. Qian Dalu was stunned for a long time before he came back to his senses and said in a deep voice, Lil Shui, why are you here? He did not expect that the person who appeared at this moment was Qian Rinxue, his granddaughter who had been hiding in the Heaven Do Empire. Why was she here? Qian Rinxue was present in the competition just now. However, after Bibidan's attack and Tang Hao's appearance, Wang Feng was furious. She also left after Ning Fengji left. Then, she used the Dark Angel Martial Soul to sense that Wang Feng was not dead. That was why she followed him all the way here. She knew that her grandpa would definitely make a move. Get out of the way. This kid can't be left alive, Qian Daolu said in a deep voice. If this person is from the Angel clan, not only will I not kill him, I might even protect him. However, he is not from the Angel clan. Moreover, his angel martial soul is too dark and evil. The angel god will not tolerate the existence of such a martial soul. The last sentence was the real reason why Qian Daolu wanted to kill Wang Feng. Everything else did not matter. As the guardian of the angel god, this was what he had to do. No, Qian Rinxue said firmly. He saved me twice. I can't let you kill him. Behind him, Wang Feng was slightly silent. This was within Wang Feng's expectations. To be more precise, he'd said a bunch of words just now to delay the 1,000 Dao flow. It would be best if he could fool them, but if he couldn't, he would wait for Qian Rinxue to appear. Save you twice? Qian Dao Lu sneered. Is this the reason why you gave him my command medallion? Xiao Shui, have you ever thought that he might have saved you on purpose? Hearing this, Wang Feng was shocked. Wang Feng did have this reason to save Qian Rinxue, but Wang Feng hid it very well. Back in the Great Star Do Forest, Wang Feng saved Qian Rinxue from the pursuit of the blood-winged dragon beetle. There were several reasons. First, it was to prevent Qian Rinxue from suddenly dying and provoking Qian Daolu before the Martial Spirit Palace riot. Who knew what would happen to the continent then? Second, it was because Qian Rinxue was beautiful and big. Of course, Wang Feng could not see it at that time, but he could guess. Now, he could see it clearly. Third, which was the most important point, was that Wang Feng thought that if his Dark Angel Martial Soul was exposed one day and he was hunted down by the Martial Spirit Palace, would it be a turning point for him since he had saved Qian Rinxue twice? The last point was just Wang Feng's speculation from the original story. This was also one of the reasons why Wang Feng dared to come to the Pope's palace. But he did not expect Qian Daolu to be an old fox who could see this point. However, at this moment, Qian Rinxue shook her head and said, That's impossible, Grandpa. I was dressed as a man, not as a woman. I used the alias Shui Rinxian. He could not have known me. Even if he knew my angel martial soul, he would not know who I am, let alone your existence. He is just a young man from a small village. How could he know so much? On the contrary, he must have saved me because I'm also an angel. Grandpa, you should be an angel too, because I had a connection with him 8 years ago. Qian Rinxue was right. From her point of view, Wang Feng could not know who she was, nor could he know about Qian Daolu. But Qian Rinxue would never know that Wang Feng was a time traveler who had read the original story, so he knew who she was long ago. Dalu was silent. Grandpa, if you want to kill him, then kill me first, Rinshua said firmly. I could not return his life, so I can only make up for it. Wang Feng was also silent. He did not expect Rinshua to do this. Dalu saw the determination in Rinshua's eyes and knew that this child was serious. It was impossible for him to kill Rinshua. Rinshua, who had the six-winged angel martial soul, was the hope of the angel race. In the future, he might even inherit the position of a god. How could he kill Rinshua? Moreover, Rinshua was his only family. Grandpa, I know you are very strong. You can avoid me completely and kill him. But if that is the case, I will kill myself, Rinshua said calmly. Dalu took a deep look at Wang Feng behind her and closed her eyes. Seeing this, Rinshua did not turn around. Instead, she said in a low voice, I don't know if I should call you Feng Yuxiu or Wang Feng, or 911. Obviously, she knew that Wang Feng's identity had been exposed. You can call me Thanos, Wang Feng said. Rinshua was speechless. Let's go. Before my grandpa changes his mind, let's leave this place, Rinshua said softly. Thank you. Since I saved your life, we don't owe each other anything anymore. Wang Feng cupped his fists. After that, Wang Feng unfolded a pair of wings on his back and disappeared into a stream of light. During that time, Wang Feng had accumulated some soul power in his body. Although he could not teleport, flying was not a problem. He just wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. Rinshua stared blankly at Wang Feng's departing figure for a long time. Child, what happened between you and him? Dalu walked to Rinshua's side and said in a low voice, Do you know what kind of person you let go? I know, Rinshua murmured. When Wang Feng's identity was exposed in the Martial Soul Palace, Rinshua was the most shocked. However, she did not show it on her face as Shueqinghe. But there was no doubt that Rinshua was really shocked at that time. Firstly, she was shocked by the other party's identity, and secondly, she was shocked by the other party's talent and strength. It was too terrifying. Wang Feng, 9111, Feng Yuxiu, these three people who had almost no connection with each other were actually the same person. It was Wang Feng who took advantage of her in the Great Soul Arena in Soto City more than 2 years ago. It was also Feng Yuxiu, who was filled with evil spirits in the Great Stardow Forest. It was also Feng Yuxiu, who was incomparably powerful and had saved her life. More importantly, it was 9111 who defeated the entire competition and created a legend. Chapter 459. Rinshua could not imagine that the three of them were the same person. It was too absurd. When the three figures overlapped, they left a deep mark in her heart, especially the Great Stardow Forest. She could not forget it. But if she could not become friends with such a terrifying person in the future, they would definitely be enemies. With such an enemy, Rinshua looked into the distance with a complicated expression. Wang Feng's figure had already disappeared. At this moment, Lu suddenly said, Do you know why I didn't kill him as soon as I appeared? Because he won't be able to live. Your mother's move is not that simple. Hearing this, Rinshua was stunned and held his breath. Grandpa, what do you mean? Rinshua's face turned pale. Lu shook his head and said, Your mother's scepter contains the poison in her martial soul. In addition to shattering his heart meridians, it also spread the poison through the scepter into his body. He should have some special treasure on him that allowed him to live for so long and escape from the Martial Spirit Palace. But no matter how powerful the treasure is, it can't keep him alive, unless it's a divine item, but that's impossible. In other words, he will die sooner or later. Your mother pretended to let me chase after him because she wanted me to help her confirm his situation. As for me, I'm really interested in this kid. That's why I came out. Hearing this, Rinshua was stunned. His heart twitched. If Wang Feng heard this, sorry, I really do have a divine item. The meteoric tear was truly a godly item compared to a godly item. When Wang Feng was leaving Martial Spirit City, the people of Shrek Academy had already left the Pontiff's Palace. They walked down the quiet steps to the square of Martial Spirit City. Only then did they stop. Then silence. Very silence. Everyone's expression was very unpleasant. No one would have thought that something like this would happen. Even the experienced Golden Iron Triangle was shocked and found it hard to accept this change. There were too many shocking points. Besides, Lu Erlong and Flinder knew that Tang Hao was the vast heaven Douluo and Tang San's father. The formidable strength that Wang Feng displayed was far from what they expected. Tang San's father is so powerful, Ma Hongjun said in a low voice. Sister Xiao Wu is a soul beast, and, Captain, it could be said that every piece of information just now was something that ordinary people would never know in their entire lives. However, they could see and hear everything clearly. Dai Mubai and Oscar nodded. Only Ning Rongrong was in a daze as she stared at the distant Pope's palace. Lu Erlong couldn't bear to look at Ning Rongrong at this moment. In a trance, she seemed to see herself in the past. When the master left her, her eyes were strangely similar to Ning Rongrong's. Rongrong, Lu Erlong opened her mouth but did not know what to say. Teacher, why are you stopping me? Ning Rongrong suddenly burst into tears. I want to be with Wang Feng. How can we just leave him like this? You can leave, but I don't want to. I don't want him to die in there alone. If you let me out just now, and I stood in front of Wang Feng, that Pope wouldn't have done anything. But if she did, Uncle Jian and Dad would have done something. Why are you stopping me? Faced with Ning Rongrong's question, Lu Erlong couldn't refute it. Because everyone saw what happened just now. Wang Feng was covered in blood, and he was seriously injured. That Pope would definitely not spare Wang Feng if she came down. Rongrong, don't mess around. Master said in a low voice, if you went out, you would only cause your father to be involved in the battle. Do you want the 7 treasure, glazed tile, sect to become enemies with the Martial Spirit Palace? Lin Feng should have a way to leave. If we leave, nothing will happen to him. If you go out directly, you will only drag him down. How can he leave? Teacher, can you tell me? Ning Rongrong opened her mouth. Master opened his mouth. He wanted to say something, but after thinking for a long time, he realized that Lin Feng really didn't have a way out. He saw with his own eyes that Lin Feng was seriously injured while fighting against 2 titled Douluo. Then the Pope came down. How could Lin Feng have a chance to leave? However, Master was just used to thinking that Wang Feng wouldn't die so easily. Now that he thought about it, there was no chance at all. When the BB Dawn came down, Zhu Zhuqing rushed out. They had already left the plaza. They didn't know what happened behind them. Flinder and Lu Erlong couldn't answer either. There's no way. Ning Rongrong wiped the tears on her face and sobbed. There's no way. Master Erlong, if you were in Grandmaster's shoes, would you be able to leave when the person you love is about to die? This was a spiritual question. Lu Erlong was stunned. If Master was in that situation, she would have rushed out. Even if she died, she would die together with him. Evidently, Ning Rongrong thought the same. Not only that, but Zhu Zhuqing also thought the same way. Master sighed softly. Humans were emotional creatures. Their feelings for Wang Feng were completely different from these 2 girls' feelings for Wang Feng. Rongrong, let's think on the bright side. Captain should be fine. Ma Hongjun said softly. Zhuqing rushed out. The Pope can't kill the innocent, right? She has no reason to kill Zhuqing. As long as Zhuqing stands in front of Wang Feng, she should. Ma Hongjun's voice became softer and softer. Perhaps he felt that he couldn't make up any more stories. Actually, Fatty is right. Perhaps Captain and Zhuqing came down safely together? There's always a chance for things to turn around. Oscar added, can you imagine how many miracles monster Captain Wang Feng has created so far? Just look at how he fought his way through the entire tournament with his 9 incarnations. Look at the unimaginable tactics he used and the immense strength he unleashed at the end. He's only a rank 40 soul master, yet he dares to challenge a titled Douluo. Is that something an ordinary soul master can do? The situation just now was indeed very dangerous for the captain. Normal soul masters don't have any chance of survival. But he's monster captain. There must be a way for him to survive. Oscar's words were a little sophistry, but they did make some sense. Ning Rongrong wiped her tears and looked up the stairs. Don't worry. Little crazy kid is the most amazing kid I've ever seen. At this moment, Douluo coughed softly and said, he can create miracles. As a titled law, Douluo felt that his worldview was being challenged by Wang Feng today. A rank 46 soul master can actually fight against 2 titled Dalu. Doesn't that mean I can relax too? But Douluo firmly believed that Wang Feng won't die so easily. Chapter 460. I think so too, Dai Mubai said. Wang Feng is also the most amazing young man I've ever met. He won't die so easily. We just have to wait. Dai Mubai's eyes widened when he said that, because he saw 3 silhouettes quickly walking down the stairs of the Pope's palace. The rest of the people also stared blankly, but their hearts could not help but sink. These 3 people were Ning Fengji, the sword Douluo, and Zhu Zhuqing. Wang Feng was not there. Soon, the 3 of them arrived in front of Shrek and the rest. Ning Fengji placed Zhu Zhuqing beside Lu Erlong. The light in Ning Rongrong's eyes disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. This child, Lu Erlong, looked at Zhu Zhuqing. Her heart sank. Ning Fengji shook his head. He looked at the sword Douluo and told them what happened. After hearing what happened, they were all stunned. Zhuqing, Ning Rongrong looked at Zhu Zhuqing. More tears welled up in her eyes. I was the one who did it first. Why wasn't it me? You mean Zhuqing is dead? Lu Erlong frowned. She suddenly placed her hand on Zhu Zhuqing's bloody chest and said in shock, that's not right. Zhuqing still has a heartbeat. Her injuries seem to have healed. The sword Douluo and Ning Fengji were stunned. The sword Douluo turned into a gust of wind and came in front of Zhu Zhuqing. He placed his hand on Zhu Zhuqing's wrist and felt it with his soul power. She's not dead. How is this possible? The sword Douluo was in disbelief. He came down in a hurry. Furthermore, he was certain that this child was dead. Hence, he did not check. Only now did he realize that although this girl was not breathing, her heart was still beating. Her injuries were recovering quickly. She would wake up soon. How is this possible? I remember that Lin Feng used a golden lotus to help her recover. Ning Fengji frowned. Could it be because of that? However, that was a blow from the Pope's BB Dawn, which almost instantly shattered the girl's heart meridians. No matter how strong the healing ability was, it couldn't possibly heal him, right? That might be the case. Grandmaster said in a deep voice, Little Feng's Azure Lotus Martial Spirit strongest is the first Golden Lotus. It has an extremely strong healing ability. As long as there is still a breath left, it can save him. Lin Feng might have used the Golden Lotus to heal Zhuqing. She just needs some time to recover. Everyone could understand this explanation. Only the sword Douluo was appraising Zhu Zhuqing's heart with furrowed brows, and he could sense that something was amiss. There seemed to be a very special energy gushing out from there, repairing the girl's body. However, she didn't reveal any of that when she was sent flying by the BB Dawn, and the sword Douluo had clearly seen that she was on the brink of death. Otherwise, he wouldn't have intervened. At that time, he didn't see anything strange about her heart. Could it be that kid? The sword Douluo gasped. What method did he use? How did he make this girl's heart so powerful? Soon, Zhu Zhuqing groaned and slowly regained consciousness. The meteoric tear was unimaginably powerful. In terms of injuries, Wang Feng was more injured than her, because the BB Dawn had held back some of its power during the second blow. However, Wang Feng was able to quickly recover from that kind of injury after escaping. However, Zhu Zhuqing was very confused. Although the meteoric tear had temporarily fused with her heart and repaired her body, she didn't need it at all. I'm not dead. Although she was very weak, Zhu Zhuqing was still conscious. She had thought that she was dead. She had died in Wang Feng's arms. Everyone was speechless. In the next moment, Zhu Zhuqing asked a question that everyone was very concerned about. Where's Wang Feng? Ning Rongrong trembled and looked at Ning Fengji and the sword Douluo. Don't worry, he's not dead. Ning Fengji suddenly smiled and said, After he handed you over to us, he used a special method to leave. He's fine. We saw it with our own eyes. All right, when he handed you over to us, he also told us not to be sad. He went to a mysterious place to cultivate. Did the two of you make a promise? You will meet again in 5 years at most. Before the final battle, the Shrek's 7 monsters and Wang Feng had made a promise that they would meet again in the Shrek Academy in 5 years. However, meet my ass. Ning Fengji and the Sword Law didn't see what happened to Wang Feng, saying this was a lie, and also to stabilize Rong Rong and the rest of the people. Ning Fengji knew his daughter too well. He also knew how much she loved Wang Feng. Previously, when he saw Ning Rongrong about to rush out, he was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. Everyone was stunned when they heard this. At this moment, the Sword Doa nodded and said, "Yes, Fengji is telling the truth." He was a titled Douluo, and everyone knew that he couldn't possibly lie. "Really? Daddy? You didn't lie to me," Ning Rongrong said in a daze. "Daddy didn't lie to you," Ning Fengji said with a smile. "That kid also said that you have to cultivate as soon as possible. The next time we meet, he will beat you up again." Everyone. It seemed like Wang Feng would say something like that. For a moment, the expressions of the 5 people could not help but relax. "Especially you, Rongrong." Ning Fengji walked over and whispered, "That kid said that you have to cultivate well. When the time comes, he will definitely come to find you first. When he comes to the 7 treasures glazed sect to look for you, you have to be good. Otherwise, when he comes and sees that you're an ugly girl with a low level of soul power, he might just turn around and leave." Ning Rongrong blushed when she heard this. She whispered, "Did he really say that? He will come to find me first." Ning Fengji nodded heavily, but he felt a little sour in his heart. "Daughter, 5 years should be enough to dilute your feelings for this kid. When you find out that Daddy is lying to you, I hope you can understand." Suddenly, Ning Rongrong's eyes were full of brilliance, and her face was glowing. Moreover, if he could cure Zhu Qing, how could he not be able to protect himself? Ning Fengji laughed a few times. "So, you should think about your future plans now. When the time comes, Tang San will definitely meet you." Everyone nodded. They believed Ning Fengji's words without a doubt. They discussed that Dai Mubai would return to the Star Luo Empire. Oscar and Ma Hongjun planned to travel the continent together and cultivate. Ning Rongrong would return to the Luli sect. After all, the Shrek Academy had offended the Martial Spear Hall. It was not suitable for her to stay in the academy. 5 years. Zhu Zhuqing was supported by Lu Erlong. She touched the energy that was gushing out of her heart. "Wang Feng, did you do this? I will always wait for you. 5 years later, if you don't appear, I will wait for 10 years, 20 years. Chapter 461. Next to a bonfire in a quiet forest. Tang San abruptly awoke from his stupor and looked around. He did not know where he was. His father was standing next to him in a black cloak, and Xiao Wu was nowhere to be seen. The last thing he saw was Zhu Qing rushing toward Bro Feng. Then, his father came down and took him and Xiao Wu away. "Dad," Tang San looked at Tang, how next to the bonfire. He had 1,000 things to say, but he did not know where to start. "Where's Xiao Wu? How's Bro Feng? Is there anyone else?" "I asked that girl to leave," Tang Hao said calmly. "You're not suitable to be together now. Wait until you're stronger. Otherwise, you'll only harm each other." Tang San's heart skipped a beat. Does father mean that we're not suitable to be together now, but we'll be together in the future? Does father agree to let me be with Xiao Wu? Tang San felt tears welling up in his eyes when he thought of that. When his purple demon eyes evolved, he had already noticed that there was something wrong with Xiao Wu. Even so, he would not leave Xiao Wu because of that. If he had a choice, he would only choose to be with Xiao Wu. He would not leave her because of her identity. However, his father's words did not mean that he had no objections. "You should hate me for not being by your side for the past 8 years. Tang Hao threw the tree branch into the bonfire, causing a burst of sparks. Tang San shook his head. "I don't hate you, father. I know that you've always been by my side to protect me. I just have a lot of questions." Tang Hao waved his hand and interrupted him. Keep your questions to yourself. The only thing you need to do now is to become stronger. Do you understand? In the days to come, I will personally train you until you are strong enough that I think it is feasible. Otherwise, your training will continue forever. Can you bear it? If you can't, then you can choose to live peacefully in a village like me. Before Tang Hao could finish his sentence, Tang San said in a firm tone, "No, I can endure any training." Tang Hao was silent for a moment. He coughed a few times and slowly nodded. Very good. The two of them were silent for a while. Suddenly, Tang Sen asked, "Father, how's Bro Feng?" Tang Hao was stunned when he heard that. He said in a low voice, "Little Feng's talent and natural endowment are much better than mine. The Martial Spirit Palace won't let him go. However, Lin Feng has too many secrets. Since he was so confident to come to the Pope's Hall, he must have thought of a way to escape." Tang Sen nodded gently. Yes, Big Brother Feng has too many secrets. Even though he grew up with Wang Feng, Tang Sen thought he knew Wang Feng well enough. However, as Tang San watched Brother Feng battle two titled Dalu on his own in the Supreme Pontiff's Palace, he discovered that the familiar Brother Feng was so unfamiliar to him. Too strong. He was so strong that Tang San's scalp went numb. Was it the kind of power a 14-year-old boy should have? All right, don't think too much about it. You'll have the chance to meet again. From now on, I will answer your questions and train you every day. Hearing his father's words, Tang San gradually calmed down. After Wang Feng escaped from the hands of the Thousand Dao Flow, he ran all the way. In the morning of the second day, Wang Feng's injuries were more or less healed. After a night of meditation, his soul power was abundant. He also discovered that after this battle, his soul power was about to break through. This was good news. However, Wang Feng was not very happy. The strength of the Martial Soul Hall gave Wang Feng a clear and deep understanding of the top forces in this world. Hence, Wang Feng had to do everything he could to increase his strength. Although the next checkpoint was in the City of Massacre, it was obvious that with the system's nature, he would need to go to the deepest part of the City of Massacre to be useful. He would not go to the City of Massacre so recklessly. Furthermore, his soul power was not enough, and he did not have enough soul rings. Most importantly, Wang Feng did not know the location of the City of Massacre. Wang Feng knew very little about this mysterious place, and he had never heard of it from anyone. Let's go to the extreme north first. As Wang Feng cultivated, he headed north. The extreme north, to be precise, did not have such a place in this world. It was only the Soul Beast Forest in the north. He only went there because Shui Bing said that she met Yi in the outskirts of the forest. Wang Feng did not sense the little azure bird's aura on the people from the Martial Soul Hall. This meant that the little azure bird was likely still in the Ice Soul Beast Forest in the north. He could go there and cultivate while looking for Qing Qing. It's a pity that I didn't bring Hulaina with me. Otherwise, I could ask her about Xing Xing. Wang Feng sighed. However, he would go back to the Martial Soul Hall. Rank 50. I have to reach rank 50 in the extreme north to obtain my 5th soul ring and manifest the 5th form of the Azure Lotus. Wang Feng pondered. Only then will I be able to go to the City of Massacre. It would be best if I used the karmic fire of the Red Lotus to temper my brain and sternum. Even so, it was not very likely that he would go to the Martial Soul Hall for revenge. After all, he was only one person. He could only say that he had to get stronger step by step. The extreme north was a good location. He just had to keep going north. This was because the Ice Soul Beast Forest in the north was very vast. It had not become a forbidden area for humans yet, but it was still a famous Ice Soul Beast Forest. Along the way, Wang Feng was also thinking about his own strength. In the battle at the Pontiff's Palace, Wang Feng had shown the strongest fighting strength apart from the Pengu Axe. However, it was still very difficult for him to kill a titled Douluo. Because the Azure Lotus could only be in one form, Wang Feng could not summon all 4 forms at the same time. As a result, he could not unleash the power of the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Once he switched to the Red Lotus, the effect of his soul-devouring blood wings would disappear and his strength would decrease. At that time, he could be severely injured by the two tidal Dalu. I still need to learn more fighting techniques. Wang Feng was deep in thought as he recalled the details of the battle with the two tidal Dalu. The Emptiness Realm had the ability to crush soul masters of the same level or more than 20 ranks above Wang Feng. It was Wang Feng's proudest combat technique, and he had developed it as he went. A special soul skill like Reversal of Heaven and Earth was much less useful. When he used the God-slaying spear, the soul-devouring blood wings were only a special enhancement to his fighting state. It was not an offensive soul skill. It all depended on him. I need to come up with a set of spear techniques. I can't just rely on the God-slaying spear to attack. Otherwise, it would be a waste of the soul-devouring blood wings. Otherwise, the two tidal Dalu would have been defeated even faster. Wang Fengxian already had a direction and thought about how to become stronger. This kind of technique was similar to the chaotic splitting wind hammer technique. He needed to come up with a special spear technique. Soon, the temperature in the air dropped. Wang Feng knew that he was about to reach the extreme north. Standing on a tree that was more than 10 meters tall, Wang Feng looked at the vast expanse of whiteness in the distance and became determined. In the next few years, I will be immersed in this ice soul beast forest until I become stronger. Chapter 462. The Outskirts of the Extreme North. Wang Feng felt the temperature drop as he made his way north. He knew he was in the outskirts of the extreme north. Wang Feng didn't know where exactly he was. The temperature here was very low, but it was an excellent cultivation environment for a soul master with an ice-type martial soul. However, the strange thing was that it was very difficult to survive in a place like this. There were no signs of life in the area. Along the way, Wang Feng had only seen a few small markets in the outskirts of the forest. They were selling items that could be used to enter the forest, such as warm clothes and other tools. But such settlements were rare because soul masters rarely came to such a harsh place. In such an environment, the burden on one's body and soul power was too great. It was much more troublesome than the Great Star Doe Forest. The average temperature in the outskirts of the forest is about 50 degrees below zero. Wang Feng walked into the snowy forest, looking around as he pondered. The ice-type soul beasts in the outskirts weren't strong. Many of the gentler ones would look at Wang Feng from afar. The bolder ones would even roar at him. Wang Feng's body had been tempered by the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. His body was spotless and close to nature. Although he was human, he exuded a special aura. He had a natural affinity with living things. If the brain and sternum were completely refined, they would become one and become a true pure body. Wang Feng was also very curious as to what kind of changes would occur at that time. This was one of Wang Feng's goals in coming to the extreme north. The soul beasts in the outskirts aren't strong. They're rare. Wang Feng stepped on the slightly soft snow. The thickness of the snow wasn't high. Every step he took left a footprint of about 5 centimeters. This was the outskirts of the forest. If he went deeper, the temperature would drop even further. Wang Feng didn't have any warm clothes on. If it were winter in his previous life, Wang Feng's thin clothes would be terrible. In fact, this environment was suitable for any soul master to cultivate in, but it was difficult to endure for long periods of time. In order to resist the cold, he had to circulate his soul force and maintain his body at a normal temperature, which was beneficial for fighting. If he stayed in this place for too long, his soul force would be absorbed faster. Wang Feng was immune to both ice and fire, but only to energy attacks. He wasn't immune to the cold. Wang Feng's body was strong enough that the cold didn't affect him much. Wang Feng didn't move forward after going about 1,000 meters in the periphery. He decided to set up camp here. Wang Feng first used the mysterious underworld spike to split into several sharp blades and cut down the surrounding trees, cutting them into countless wooden planks. Wang Feng wanted to build a small wooden hut for his daily cultivation. He wasn't a barbarian. After all, he was not a savage. Since he planned to cultivate in the land of extreme ice for a long time, he naturally needed to build a shelter first. The high efficiency of the mysterious dark spike made Wang Feng sigh. The mysterious dark spike was really useful. Now that he had enough soul force, it was much easier to use. A few sharp black blades slashed at the snowy trees in the air. These snow trees were covered in snowflakes, and the accumulated snowflakes also formed the leaves of these trees, adding a different kind of charm to this vast white world wrapped in silver. With a flash of light, a large tree of ice and snow instantly fell to the ground. Wang Feng held two sabers in his hands, controlling his power as he carefully cut down the tree. He cut the tree into planks of equal length. Halfway through, Wang Feng suddenly froze. I can only use the mysterious underworld spike through physical contact. If I can use my spiritual power to control it, I should be able to achieve the effect of object manipulation. Wang Feng suddenly thought of this. Wang Feng had always used his soul force to control the mysterious underworld spike. He could change its trajectory to a certain extent. For example, he could change the direction of an arrow. But in reality, he needed to borrow force to fire the arrow. The longer the distance, the weaker the control. Wang Feng couldn't directly control the mysterious underworld spike. If he could, he would be at the level of object manipulation. I have a spiritual skull that's more than 100,000 years old. Why don't I try it? I can use my spiritual power to control the mysterious underworld spike. I don't need to do it myself. Wang Fengxin's heart heated up. Flying on a sword? Previously, when Wang Feng had used the mysterious dark spike, he had only wanted to use it to change its form in the middle of the battle to catch the young master off guard. But if he could use his spiritual power to control it, thinking of this, Wang Feng put down the black blade in his hand and stared at it. His soul force could only change the shape of the mysterious underworld spike. If he didn't have the skull, Wang Feng didn't want to try using his spiritual power to control the mysterious underworld spike. The skull given by the system was stronger than Wang Feng imagined. It was able to resist Bibidan's pressure in the Pontiff's palace. It wasn't simple. Spiritual power was a very mysterious power. Wang Feng knew that in cultivation, it was similar to divine sense. In the Douluo world, Wang Feng hadn't heard of any methods to cultivate spiritual power. From a perspective of meditation cultivation, spiritual power should increase as one cultivated. Therefore, high-rank soul masters often had very high spiritual power. Wang Feng didn't know how to cultivate spiritual power. How to use it was even more complicated. He just stared at the sharp blade formed by the mysterious underworld spike and crazily meditated on it. It was the same when he made the arrow turn. He concentrated his spiritual power and controlled his soul force to make the arrow turn. But now Wang Feng needed the sharp blade to move on its own. As for the relationship between soul force and spiritual power, Wang Feng felt that it was probably the relationship between the graphics card and the CPU. Without soul force, no matter how strong one's spiritual power was, it couldn't do anything. Without spiritual power, no matter how high one's soul force was, they couldn't do anything because they couldn't use their soul force. Of course, this was only Wang Feng's analogy. In reality, there was still a big difference. After staring at the sharp blade for a while, Wang Feng's skull glowed slightly. This was a sign that his spiritual power was operating. Wang Feng felt as if a storm was brewing in his brain. The sharp blade seemed to break down into countless particles, recombined, and finally became the original sharp blade. In the next moment, the sharp blade moved. Seeing this, Wang Feng's pupil shrank. One had to know that he didn't move at all. He was just using his spiritual power. Following that, the sharp blade slowly floated up from the air. At this time, Wang Feng felt a little dizzy. His skull emitted a clear aura, making Wang Feng feel much better. It really works. Wang Feng was quite excited. But because of this excitement, the sharp blade directly fell. This isn't using some tricks, nor is it using profound soul force. It's pure spiritual power. Wang Feng murmured. Wang Feng roughly knew that it was similar to Tang San's mysterious jade hands. When practiced to a high level, it could also achieve a simple object controlling effect. Similarly, soul masters with high soul force could also control objects by relying on their profound soul force. Wang Feng was able to control the arrows turn in this way. However, Wang Feng had never seen someone who could control objects with just mental power. End of this chapter. Chapter 463. They were on two completely different levels. Controlling with soul power and controlling with spiritual power were two different concepts. Simply put, with spiritual power, Wang Feng could control the mysterious underworld spike at will. With any command, the mysterious underworld spike could attack from all angles without any delay. Controlling with soul power was much more troublesome, and the degree of control was limited. He could only make simple changes. I feel like there's something in my mind. Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that spiritual power has been concretized? Shaking his head, Wang Feng felt that it was impossible. Wang Feng didn't think too much about it. He focused on the sharp blade again and continued practicing. He didn't know if it was because of the Black Hoop spiritual skull or because he was extremely focused, but Wang Feng improved very quickly. One day later, a sharp blade floated quietly beside Wang Feng, spinning gently. This sharp blade was very short, about the size of a palm. This was the limit of Wang Feng's spiritual power. Go! Wang Feng snapped his fingers, and the sharp blade suddenly flew out and stabbed into a big tree. However, it only made the tree tremble, and a 2 to 3 centimeters deep cut was made. However, because it was only controlled with spiritual power, it wasn't strong enough. Wang Feng shook his head. This was the weakness of spiritual power control. Without a point to leverage, it was very weak. Although he could do simple object manipulation, the lethality was too weak. In other words, Wang Feng didn't have a specific spiritual power cultivation method or object manipulation method. If it was a cultivation method, it would probably be some kind of spell. He could only fumble around on his own, but Wang Feng didn't get tired of it. Other than being cool, there's nothing good about it. Wang Feng clicked his tongue. Seems like I still need a long time to practice. Sooner or later, I will be able to fly on a sword and experience the feeling of being an immortal. Logically speaking, he was indeed cool. In the future, with a single thought, the mysterious underworld spike would instantly turn into a weapon. Swish, swish, swish. However, it would still take a long time before he could do it. Yesterday, Wang Feng had been practicing object manipulation with spiritual power the entire day. Today, Wang Feng would directly use the mysterious underworld spike to quickly build a triangular wooden house about 30 square meters. This was not a difficult task for Wang Feng. What was interesting was that this ice tree was quite special. It seemed to be in an ice and snow environment, but after peeling off the bark, Wang Feng found that this kind of tree could keep warm and release heat. The temperature of the wooden house built from it was much higher than outside. After the wooden house was built, Wang Feng spent another 3 days exploring the surrounding terrain. The extreme north was truly desolate and uninhabited, and the terrain was strange of every description. About 2 kilometers north of Wang Feng's wooden house, there was a small ice valley with several 10,000-year-old beasts inside, but they weren't particularly strong. North and south, there was a long ice river that extended to an unknown location. Wang Feng could see quite a few soul beasts in the water, as well as some special fishes. After exploring an area with a radius of nearly 5 kilometers, there was basically only snow and trees. As for the other resources, Wang Feng didn't see much unless they were buried under the snow. If they went further in, they would reach the inner area of the land of extreme north, which was relatively more dangerous. Wang Feng estimated that there should be quite a few 10,000-year-old beasts inside. The land of extreme north was too big. Although he hadn't explored it before, it shouldn't be much inferior to the Great Stardow Forest. Wang Feng's goal in the future was to become a 90,000-year-old beast. This was because this was the requirement for punching in. He didn't have many chances of killing a 100,000-year-old beast. Although it was only a difference of 10,000 years, this was the difference between a soul, Douluo, and a title, Dalu. Cultivating alone in this forest of ice and snow would make one feel extremely lonely. This was also a form of cultivation. If you didn't speak, no one would be able to sense any of your emotions. Loneliness, coldness, and desolation. In such an environment, Wang Feng wasn't disturbed by external things and was extremely focused on his cultivation. With the help of the skull, Wang Feng's cultivation speed greatly increased. In less than a month, Wang Feng broke through to rank 47. However, as he increased his rank, Wang Feng realized that his cultivation speed became even slower. However, Wang Feng was still not anxious. He didn't go deep into the land of extreme north and only cultivated in the outer area. Wang Feng knew that in the inner area of the land of extreme north, danger and opportunity coexisted. There were definitely treasures inside, but there were also powerful soul beasts. He wasn't in a hurry. It was another normal day. On the wooden bed in the wooden hut, Wang Feng opened his eyes from his meditation. A streak of black light flashed across his eyes. With a thought, the black light flew out from Wang Feng's body and turned into a long pole. It picked up the clothes on the wooden hut's clothes rack and landed in front of Wang Feng. It automatically helped Wang Feng put it on. After that, it turned into a comb and combed Wang Feng's messy hair into an adult's appearance. As it combed, it also turned into a pair of scissors to trim Wang Feng's hair. After a month of simple training, Wang Feng could already use his spiritual power to control the mysterious underworld spike. It was extremely convenient. He could train and fix his appearance at the same time. Wang Feng didn't want to become a barbarian because of excessive cultivation. Life had to have a sense of ritual, and cultivation was the same. Wang Feng's body would become messy because of his daily combat training. However, with the help of the mysterious underworld spike, Wang Feng didn't even need to lift a finger. He could use his spiritual power to quickly fix himself and turn himself into an exquisite pig-like boy. He could continue training for another day. However, this was also because the mysterious underworld spike was a soul bone. It was fused with his body to a certain extent. This was why he could use his spiritual power to control objects. If it were anything else, Wang Feng wouldn't be able to control it so well. In just a few minutes, under the control of the dark nether spike, Wang Feng's entire body was in high spirits. It had to be said that the mysterious underworld spike was a necessity for lazy people. With it, Wang Feng didn't have to wear clothes anymore. Wang Feng stood up and pushed open the wooden door. A gust of cold wind blew in. He looked at the familiar world of ice and shouted, "Spear, come." He focused his eyes and stretched out his hand. The black light condensed into a spear in the air. As if it had a mind of its own, it spun a few times in the air and flew towards Wang Feng's hand. However, it was slightly crooked. It brushed past Wang Feng's hand and hit his face. Wang Feng was speechless. Wang Feng rubbed his face and grabbed the spear formed by the mysterious underworld spike. Of course, the spear didn't have a mind of its own. He was using his spiritual power to control it so that he could act cool. However, the spear was too big. Wang Feng's spiritual power couldn't control such a big weapon with such precision. Wang Feng could only use his spiritual power to control small objects like scissors, combs, and short sticks. In the past month, Wang Feng had mostly been sensing the surrounding terrain or using his spiritual power to control the mysterious underworld spike. He had also been fighting, but not much. From today onwards, Wang Feng planned to train with the spear. He wanted to see if he could figure out a special technique. However, Wang Feng didn't use the soul-slaying spear. It consumed too much soul power. He could use the spear formed by the mysterious underworld spike. As for how to train, Wang Feng had thought about it for the past month and had some ideas. End of chapter. Chapter 464. The ice valley in the north and the ice river on the left can be used as a place for me to practice my spear. Wang Feng walked towards his destination. Although it was only the outer ice valley and there was nothing special about it, there were many natural ice crystals in the ice valley. They were very hard and their shape was very irregular. And because of the terrain, some ice crystals would often fall from the sky, causing a lot of damage to soul masters. The ice river was very interesting. The ice surface was very smooth and had a special suction force. This suction force was not for people, but for soul power. After a soul master stood on it, the flow of soul power would accelerate. It felt like a naturally formed special terrain. As for the inner circle of the extreme north, Wang Feng did not plan to go there now. When he reached rank 50 and could figure out a set of special spear techniques, he would go to the inner circle of the extreme north to look for soul rings. Similarly, Wang Feng did not give up looking for the little cyan bird. With his perception, as long as there was a trace of the little cyan bird's aura, Wang Feng would be able to sense it clearly. The only thing that worried Wang Feng was the consciousness of Yi and Xing Xing in Shui Bing, and Hulaina's skulls. Shui Bing was fine. Yi's consciousness had stabilized, and Shui Bing would not act recklessly. It was hard to say about Hulaina, but Hulaina's martial soul was mutated and her consciousness was in her skulls. If there was an accident, Hulaina would also be seriously injured. Even if Bibi Dan knew that Hulaina's skull had Xing Xing's consciousness, she would not dare to act recklessly. After all, she was her direct disciple. As long as Wang Feng found the little cyan bird, he should know the specific situation of the three little guys. While thinking, Wang Feng soon arrived at the ice valley. This ice valley was not big, and there were no rare treasures inside. This place was only the outer area. Even if there were rare treasures, they would have been taken away long ago. There were only many ice crystal pillars that looked like irregular mirrors. There were also ice crystal snowflakes falling from the sky. These ice crystals had a corrosive effect and would hurt soul masters when they fell on them. In order to prevent his clothes from being corroded, Wang Feng naturally had to avoid these ice crystal snowflakes. Those ice crystal pillars were like mirrors, but they were very hard. If Wang Feng did not use soul power, he could not break them with a punch. Because it was too slippery, coupled with the fact that the crystal surface was extremely irregular, when the spear stabbed into it, the spear was directly crooked. The first time Wang Feng had come here, he hadn't used any soul power or soul skills. He had only used his spear to stab for a long time, but he hadn't been able to pierce through an ice crystal pillar. This had caused Wang Feng to become incomparably irritable. Therefore, Wang Feng used this as the first place to practice his spear. Actually, it was very simple to pierce through these ice crystal pillars. All one had to do was focus one's strength on a single point and use a short burst of power to attack. However, while it seemed easy, it was actually extremely difficult. Because these ice crystal pillars were very sturdy, their surfaces were very slippery and irregular. Often, no matter how much power was gathered at the tip of the spear, it would only leave a scratch on the surface of the ice crystal, and the power would be directly dissipated. Therefore, Wang Feng realized that he couldn't pierce through it with his spear without using his soul power or soul skills. After practicing for a while, the ice in the ice valley scattered. Many small scratches appeared on the ice crystal pillar in front of Wang Feng, but there was not a single hole. Wang Feng was starting to doubt his life. The greatest characteristic of a spear was its thrust. If he didn't use his soul power or soul skills, he couldn't even unleash this characteristic. Wang Feng didn't want to practice any fancy techniques. He just wanted to unleash the greatest characteristic of a spear. This was also why Wang Feng couldn't hit the two titled Dalu's vitals, even though he was able to injure them every time he used the soul-slaying spear, even though he was in his empty state. After an entire morning, Wang Feng didn't gain anything. There were only more scratches on the ice crystal pillar in front of him. Titled Dalu are just like these slippery ice crystal pillars. It's too difficult to pierce through them with a single attack. Wang Feng furrowed his brow. Wait, let me try to lock my spiritual power onto one point of this ice crystal pillar. Wang Fengxian's heart skipped a beat. He focused on the ice crystal pillar in front of him. The irregular surface of the crystal pillar was like a multifaceted mirror. Wang Feng could see many of his reflections in it. After locking his spiritual power onto one point, Wang Feng's spear suddenly stabbed out. He aimed at that point. Dong! The tip of the spear instantly pierced through that point and pierced through the ice crystal pillar. Seeing this, Wang Feng was delighted. It seems possible. I used my spiritual power to lock onto the spear. The force of the attack didn't dissipate. With Wang Feng's current physique, he had exquisite control over every muscle in his body. He could quickly grasp anything in his hands. Hence, Wang Feng knew all these basic techniques. Wang Feng could quickly grasp these basic techniques, but he couldn't study them in depth. Hence, it was very difficult for him to do it in special situations. Until now, Wang Feng was able to pierce through the ice crystal pillar with a single spear by combining his spiritual power with his technique. Using spiritual power to lock onto something was a little like cheating. But that feeling, Wang Feng remembered it. This time, Wang Feng didn't use his spiritual power to lock onto something. He remained calm and collected. The tip of the spear shone like a star. Dong! Another hole appeared in the ice crystal pillar. It seems like I've grasped the basic techniques of using a spear. Once this feeling came, it couldn't be blocked. Wang Feng felt that the spear in his hand was filled with spirituality. His mind felt like it was being washed by a raging ocean. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The spear in Wang Feng's hand was like an arm. It was very comfortable. Every time he struck, another hole would appear in the ice crystal pillar around him. Every strike was extremely accurate. His strength was only released at the last moment. Bang, bang, bang. Crisp sounds rang out continuously. In a state where he didn't use soul power or soul skills, he only had an ordinary physique. Every spear thrust became more and more accurate, and the power behind it became greater and greater. After the last strike pierced through the ice crystal pillar, Wang Feng shook gently. The force traveled along the spear and directly shattered the ice crystal pillar. Furthermore, Wang Feng had to constantly dodge the ice crystals and snowflakes falling from the sky. His body was extremely tense. This was also a form of training. After shattering the ice crystal pillar, there was a terrifying gust of air. Ice crystals and snowflakes filled the sky. Wang Feng slowly retracted his spear. Could this be an epiphany? Wang Feng looked at the spear. Honestly speaking, he didn't feel much about weapons. Most of them were unleashed through soul skills. When he fought against the two titled Dalu, he only used his void realm. He used his terrifying speed and powerful physique to execute simple attacks with a god-slaying spear. In comparison, I feel that using the god-slaying spear earlier was a waste. Wang Feng couldn't help but think. End of chapter. Chapter 465. After Wang Feng jumped into the cave, he walked a long distance in the tunnel. While walking, Wang Feng thought to himself, putting on such a mysterious show was nothing more than to make the people who came feel dread towards this slaughter city. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a need to arrange such a long, dark passage. Because in this kind of passage, ordinary spirit masters would feel a little dread towards the dark and lonely environment. The longer they walked, the greater the dread. After walking for roughly 10 minutes, Wang Feng saw a large door. Pushing open the door, light slowly condensed. What entered his eyes were rows of black armored warriors. The one in the very center rode a black warhorse, his whole body wrapped in armor. Behind these black armored warriors was a pitch-black city. Above the city hung a purple moon. If nothing unexpected happened, this city was Slaughter City. That moon was very mystical, like it was man-made, only several hundred meters tall. Slaughter City. Wang Feng looked at the black city in the distance. Actually, apart from the color, this city wasn't much different from the human cities Wang Feng had seen before. Walking in from outside the door, Wang Feng felt as if he had entered a special domain, especially under the illumination of that purple moon. His spirit abilities seemed to have been sealed. This also meant he had entered the domain of Slaughter City. Although Wang Feng had been tempered by the Red Lotus and remembered a lot of knowledge from his previous life, he still couldn't understand it. But Wang Feng hadn't seen the latter half of the original work, so he didn't understand much about Slaughter City and was even somewhat unfamiliar with it. These black armored warriors in front of him should be to welcome outsiders who wanted to enter Slaughter City. These black armored warriors in front of him should be here to welcome outsiders who wanted to enter Slaughter City. The leader of the black armored warriors slowly spoke in a low and ice-cold voice. Defeat us, and you will have the qualifications to enter Slaughter City. You? Wang Feng frowned slightly. Who set this up? I just set it up. The black-armored knight's cold voice was like that of a robot, as if he knew everything that had happened in the tavern above. Wang Feng smiled. This slaughter city really was a land of indulgence. There really weren't any rules. Even these black-armored warriors representing law enforcers were the same. At this moment, the black-armored knight brought the 100 black-armored warriors, swiftly wrapping Wang Feng up. The armor on these black-armored warriors was made of some unknown material, looking exceptionally hard. Under the purple moonlight, it suffused with a dark luster, their entire bodies covered in armor. Like 800 Spartan warriors, they surrounded Wang Feng while howling. In this place, even though spirit abilities couldn't be used, spirit power could be used, and the spirit's original form could also be used. Reasonably speaking, the restrictions on Wang Feng weren't very large. Even though he couldn't use spirit abilities, and Wang Feng couldn't use strength above 3rd gear. But 2nd gear was already enough to move unhindered. Especially, his current physical strength had already reached an extremely terrifying level, within a range of 30 meters. All spirit masters under 60th rank can't get close to me. Wang Feng didn't panic in the slightest. After Wang Feng reached rank 53 and obtained his 5th soul ring, he already had more than 50,000 mysterious dark spikes, and they were constantly growing and evolving. The weight of the mysterious dark armor had also reached more than 10,000 kilograms. Furthermore, when his body was being tempered by the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, the mysterious dark spikes had also been tempered, and their destructive power was simply terrifying. Because the mysterious dark armor was an external soul bone, it was usually attached to the upper half of Wang Feng's body. As an external soul bone, it didn't affect the torso bone that was fused with the body. According to Wang Feng's estimation, the mysterious dark spike's poison might have been tempered away, but the damage it could do was double. Not only could it cause damage to the enemy's body, but could also cause damage to the enemy's spirit. However, the mysterious dark armor's abilities didn't change, it only became stronger. Seeing the black-armored warriors attacking in unison, Wang Feng shook his head. He only saw him lightly stomp his foot. In an instant, countless black rays condensed behind Wang Feng's back, instantly forming 5 sharp blades. 5 sharp blades was the limit of the number of objects that Wang Feng's spiritual power could control. Actually, just by using the mysterious dark spike to change forms, Wang Feng could form more than 10 kinds, but using spiritual power to control objects to attack was much more troublesome. He could only temporarily control 5 different sharp blades to attack. Defend, the black-armored knight said in a deep voice. More than 100 black-armored warriors seemed to obey the order. They formed groups of 2, back to back, raised their shields, and wrapped themselves like a dumpling. Can we defend? Wang Feng laughed. The current mysterious dark spike was not the mysterious dark spike that he had at level 40. Even if these black-armored warriors' armor was very hard, they couldn't block it. 5 pitch-black sharp blades pierced through countless shields in the air, like 5 shooting stars, shuttling through the formation of 100 people. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In less than 10 seconds, all the shields were cut and pierced through. Combine! Wang Feng, who was stunned on the spot, continued to order. The 5 sharp blades in the air were like mechanical pillars, forming a ring. The sharp blades pointed outwards, like a wheel of wind and fire, directly cutting through all the black-armored warriors' armor. Fresh red flesh was revealed. Blood bloomed like an explosion. It bloomed around Wang Feng. Rumble. At this moment, a figure directly rushed over from afar. It was that black-armored knight. His charging momentum was astonishing. The black-armored warhorse, with the lower half of his body, was like a sports car, charging towards Wang Feng. Clearly, he wanted to directly attack Wang Feng. The opponent's strange attack method really was something he hadn't seen before. Clearly not using any spirit abilities, but still able to release this kind of powerful long-range attack. In so many years in Slaughter City, the black-armored knight still hadn't seen it. Perhaps it was a spirit bone. After all, spirit bones could be used in Slaughter City. But as long as he attacked himself, There shouldn't be any problems, right? Seeing the white-clothed, faceless man right in front of him, the black-armored knight actually growled, increasing his speed somewhat. Just at this moment, Wang Feng suddenly leapt lightly and then directly kicked out. Boom! The power of this kick directly shook the air with an explosive sound. The black-armored knight and his horse were sent flying as if they had been hit by a high-speed rail. His mind was a bit blank in this instant. Such tyrannical, fleshly strength. With this kind of charging momentum, he could actually still be kicked flying along with his horse. He had sensed very clearly just now that the opponent hadn't even used spirit power. In other words, he had only used the purest physical quality. The black-armored knight looked at the shattered armor all over his body, as well as the already dead warhorse. Waves of cramping pain came from his body, as if telling him how terrifying the might of that kick just now was. At this moment, Wang Feng walked over and said, "Do I have the qualifications to enter Slaughter City?" The black-armored knight glanced at this white-clothed, faceless man. Seeing that the opponent was still untainted by a speck of dust, white as snow, seemingly out of place in this world of darkness, his heart felt somewhat suffocated. He said in a hoarse voice, "Yes." Finished speaking, the black-armored knight tossed over a command medallion to Wang Feng. Each person who passes the trial will obtain a command medallion as proof. Bring this item, and someone will come to receive you at the city gate. Wang Feng took the command medallion and fixed his eyes on it, discovering several numbers floating on it. 9527. P.S. There are still 4 or 5 more nights. End of this chapter. Chapter 466. This number. It made Wang Feng somewhat rueful. After lamenting, Wang Feng didn't pay any attention to this black-armored knight, but rather turned and walked towards the distant Slaughter City. The city gate wasn't large, and the distance wasn't far either. Several black-armored warriors stood at the gate, as well as several men and women, apparently waiting specially for the newcomers. The one receiving Wang Feng wasn't a woman, but rather a man. He was roughly 30 years old, wearing a black robe, his face a bit scarred, but not considered ugly. "I'm nameless. Welcome to Slaughter City." The man's voice was somewhat hoarse, somewhat overcast. "In the coming day, I will explain matters relating to Slaughter City to you. During this time, you are safe." After speaking, he seemed to feel that Wang Feng's clothes were a bit strange, and his eyes kept looking at Wang Feng. Wang Feng's mask didn't have a crack, and really was very much like a faceless person. Adding on the moon white clothes really was too conspicuous, especially in this place. "Nameless?" Wang Feng looked astonished at the man. "Do you know 10,000 swords return a sect?" Nameless was clearly distracted, frowning and shaking his head. "I don't know what you're talking about. If it's a spirit ability, I don't know what 10,000 swords return a sect. Slaughter City also doesn't allow any spirit abilities. The newcomers we receive all use Nameless as a byword." Wang Feng smiled soundlessly. "Then tell me about Slaughter City's matters in a nutshell." Wang Feng followed Nameless into the city. The city didn't look large, and the buildings inside, even the floorboards, all seemed extremely ordinary, not too different from ordinary cities. Only the people living inside were very special. Slaughter City is a domain left behind by a 100-ranked spirit master 1,000 years ago. Presumably, you've also sensed that your spirit abilities are unable to be used here. Even if a title Douluo came, it would still be the same. Therefore, if you want to live here, you can only rely on your own ability. Nameless continued to explain. "The domain is a bit weak." Wang Feng shook his head. "Without spirit abilities, there's still spirit power and spirit bones. It should also completely seal spirit power and spirit bones. Only then can it be considered a true Slaughter City, relying on one's own most primitive strength to carry out slaughter." Nameless. Nameless resisted the urge to reprimand this white-clothed, faceless man, explaining in a low voice. "That's impossible. That's equivalent to sealing all a spirit master's abilities. Then isn't that just right? Pursuing the most primitive slaughter." Nameless couldn't help glancing at this white-clothed, faceless man, vaguely feeling that what it said wasn't wrong. The rules of your slaughter city are that there are no rules, right? Wang Feng continued. As long as you want to do it, you can do it as you please here to the extent that you don't even need to pay any price. Just now I saw the people in the city, even relying on free food, but one of them directly died after eating it. Clearly this place is also full of danger. Wang Feng's perception was too powerful. After his whole body had been tempered as one, Wang Feng's perception of the energy of heaven and earth, of everything that happened in his surroundings, was extremely clear. Everything that happened in the surroundings couldn't escape Wang Feng's perception. There were lives disappearing here at every moment. Slaughter City accepted any spirit master. As long as they passed a trial, they could enter Slaughter City. According to what Nameless said, this place had the protection of the mighty Slaughter King, and Wang Feng felt it should be the prison king. This Slaughter City was even more like an inescapable prison, imprisoning countless criminals and thugs. The people who entered were very safe, but also very dangerous. It seems you have a certain understanding of Slaughter City. Nameless shook his head. I know the general rules of Slaughter City, but one of the most important rules is that you can enter, but you can't leave. If you want to escape Slaughter City, then the law enforcement team that the Slaughter King bestowed with spirit abilities in the city will kill you. Wang Feng nodded slightly. Even if he couldn't use spirit abilities, right now facing titled Dalu, who could use spirit abilities, was still very troublesome. If it was just an ordinary titled Dalu, then it would still be fine, but if it was that kind of 95th ranked transcendent Dalu, it might be life-threatening. But I think there's always a way out. Wang Feng continued to ask. This was the key point. Wang Feng was certain that the place to punch and should be some place in Slaughter City. After all, this was a city. There is. Nameless glanced at Wang Feng. As long as you can charge out of the Hell Road, you can leave Slaughter City. Moreover, each power that can charge out of the Hell Road will be crowned with the title of Death God. Hearing this, Wang Feng couldn't help smiling. Death God? Using a god as a title. Aren't you afraid of incurring the displeasure of a god? No, because there's no such god as Death God. Wang Feng. Thinking about it, it seemed that in the Douluo world there really wasn't a god like Death God. There was the Azura god, but there wasn't a Death God. Where's the Hell Road? Wang Feng continued to ask. He really didn't understand much about Slaughter City, and right now he naturally had to ask this novice village chief. You want to go to the Hell Road? Nameless looked at Wang Feng and shook his head. Impossible. That's too difficult. The people who enter Slaughter City are for the most part extremely vicious criminals of the outside world. Because they can't go on living, they enter Slaughter City and become the degenerates here. But there are also comparatively special spirit masters who want to enter Slaughter City to gain experience. I think you should belong to that kind. As a newcomer guide, Nameless experience seemed to be very ample. Wang Feng nodded. This wasn't something to hide. Of course, he didn't come to Slaughter City to gain experience. He had two goals. One was to clock in. The second reason was to secretly cultivate the Dark Angel martial soul. Using this place as nourishment, he would cultivate the true Dark Angel spirit. Because in comparison, the current Dark Sky spirit, besides spirit body enhancement strengthening his own abilities, it didn't have many abilities. Previously, he had awakened and evolved a blood mark, which gave him a slightly similar aura to a domain. Generally, a true domain spirit ability required at least a title Doa level existence to have a chance of possessing it. But Wang Feng felt that it should be able to form a true domain. Only the awakening and evolution still wasn't thorough enough. Wang Feng sometimes wondered whether those 7 blood marks represented a kind of ability. When the 7 blood marks were completely activated, 7 different kinds of domains superimposed, what kind of effect would there be at that time? Therefore, this was the main reason Wang Feng had come to Slaughter City. Adventurers like you don't take our Slaughter City seriously. Nameless shook his head, still wanting to charge out of the Hell Road. It's simply laughable to the extreme. Let's say it like this. If you want to enter the Hell Road, you must become the champion of the Hell Slaughter Arena. And to become the champion, you must win 100 matches in a row. And in every battle, in a 10-man system, only one person can survive. This means that you must kill at least close to 1,000 people. Pay attention. These close to 1,000 people are all spirit masters. Into this chapter. Chapter 467. With this spear, Wang Feng borrowed the power of the heavenly thunder hurricane and condensed all kinds of thoughts from the past to form a true spear aura. Under this spear, all kinds of comprehensions were memorized in his heart, and a wonderful feeling came back to his heart. It formed an extremely murderous spear skill. Even if it was just comprehended, the special spear aura that Wang Feng had comprehended was not simple. It also contained some unique concepts that had far exceeded the scope of ordinary martial arts. This terrifying spear attack, Wang Feng seemed to have turned into a green-purple lightning, shaking the body of the wind-winged blizzard crocodile. Ka-ka-ka. Countless ice patterns directly cracked from the body of the blizzard crocodile. Its defense was broken. Not only that, the power of this spear directly penetrated the body of the blizzard crocodile. This caused the beast to cry out miserably. The mysterious underworld spike contained a violent, corrosive poison that crazily corroded the body of the blizzard crocodile. However, this blizzard crocodile was worthy of being a 60,000-year-old beast. Even so, under this spear, it was not killed instantly. But Wang Feng was able to injure this kind of soul beast with a single spear with the strength of a first grade. This was already strong enough. Of course, it was definitely not comparable to the Pango axe. Moreover, Wang Feng did not dare to use the Pango axe with his strength of a first grade. If he used it with his current strength, this blizzard crocodile would definitely be finished. The blizzard crocodile was angry and unwilling. It did not understand how this human soul master who had not injured it from the beginning to the end could inexplicably injure it. Even that move made it feel like it was about to die. Wang Feng withdrew his spear and jumped back. His whole body seemed to have evaporated, emitting hot air. His skin became incomparably red with some green, and he was panting like an ox. The consumption was great. The more powerful the move, the greater the burden on the body. Just now, when Wang Feng received the heavenly thunder, he also suffered a lot of damage. It was the same for the condensed hurricane, which was gathered in the spear. The power was very strong, but because it was just comprehended, there were many disadvantages. But Wang Feng's eyes were really excited. Wang Feng clearly remembered that feeling just now. The power was perfectly consistent with the spear skill he wanted to create. This move condensed the unique power of heaven and earth, fused with his own thoughts, and formed a special spear concept. The god of wind and thunder was so terrifying. Furthermore, Wang Feng had used his soul power to execute this move. This move also consumed about 30% of his soul power, so the consumption wasn't too high. Looking at the blizzard crocodile, Wang Feng smiled. "Brother, leave. I won't kill you. You're already useless." He had already comprehended the moves that he wanted. As for this blizzard crocodile, it was useless to kill it. It was better to let it grow. When the time came, he could find it to practice his moves when he had nothing to do. Roar! Blood gushed out from the blizzard crocodile's back as it looked angrily at Wang Feng. However, it wasn't stupid. This human soul master was a little too strong. Although he looked incomparably weak right now, it was still extremely vigilant. Glancing at Wang Feng, the violent snow crocodile raised its buttocks and quickly fled towards its own cave. Its cave was in an ice cave a few hundred meters away. Since it was heavily injured, it had to go back and recuperate. Looking at the departing figure of the violent snow crocodile, Wang Feng grinned. His face flushed red as he spat out a mouthful of blood. This dog is quite strong. Wind and thunder absolute divine spear. In the next year, I will do my best to study this move. Wang Feng coughed a few times. This move mainly borrowed the power of heaven and earth. Wind was everywhere, but the power of thunder and lightning was very little. However, Wang Feng's divinized skill had a lightning paralyzing effect, and it had a certain amount of thunder and lightning power. Moreover, Wang Feng could simplify this move a little. Remembering the location of the blizzard crocodile, Wang Feng returned to the wooden house. At this time, the sky was already dark. When he returned, his injuries had already recovered. This was all dependent on the meteoric tear and his physical fitness. Even if the meteoric tear gushed out energy, it could accelerate the recovery of injuries, plus the healing effect of the golden lotus. No matter what injury Wang Feng suffered, even if it was a broken arm or a broken leg, Wang Feng doubted that he would recover in a day at most. If an ordinary soul master used that move just now, their body would have exploded directly. Only Wang Feng was only slightly injured. After coming to the extreme north for 2 months, Wang Feng had already achieved one of his goals. This made Wang Feng quite excited. Although this move still had many extensions and shortcomings, it was still the first spear skill that he created. And unlike Reverse Universe, it was a technique that Wang Feng improved and comprehended based on the disorder splitting windhammer technique. This could be considered his first self-created spear skill in the truest sense. The feeling of comprehension was very wonderful. It was so wonderful that Wang Feng laughed out loud while meditating. In the following days, Wang Feng carried out various training improvements based on his self-created Wind, Thunder, Absolute God Spear, making it more perfect and not injuring himself again. A month later, under Wang Feng's improvements, Wang Feng divided the Wind, Thunder, Absolute God Spear into 2 moves. The first move, Spirit Severing. The second move, Heaven and Earth Wind Thunder. The first move required the possession of a divinized soul skill, using the power of thunder in the Golden Lotus, or the power of thunder and lightning after possession, gathering the power of wind and thunder, condensing one's own comprehension and thoughts, forming the concept of spear power to attack the enemy. It was extremely powerful, and once the opponent was locked on, the opponent would be attacked with lightning speed, unavoidable. There was no need to accumulate power, and the consumption was not high. According to Wang Feng's estimation, even a Soul Douluo could only take 3 moves at most. If he used 5th gear and was at full strength, even a titled Douluo could not take 10 moves. When Wang Feng used this move against 2 titled Douluo that day, within 10 moves, a titled Douluo would definitely be seriously injured and die. The second move was more troublesome and required the help of a real divine lightning hurricane. Divine lightning and hurricane were the true power of heaven and earth, the power of nature, and were difficult to encounter. If he used 5th gear at full strength, an ordinary titled Douluo would definitely be seriously injured. Of course, these were only Wang Feng's estimations, and he did not know the exact situation. However, this move consumed a lot of energy and required a specific timing. It was Wang Feng's ultimate move, second only to Panga's axe. In the next few months, Wang Feng had been practicing these 2 moves. Wang Feng could probably use the second style a few times a month, depending on the weather. As for the first style, Wang Feng often used it. Moreover, he used the blizzard crocodile as a testing stone. This was also why Wang Feng could estimate its power. After all, a 60,000-year blizzard crocodile was equivalent to a soul sage over rank 70 in terms of cultivation. Its strength was about the same as a soul Douluo. A 90,000-year soul beast cultivation was equivalent to a soul Douluo, and a 100,000-year soul beast cultivation was equivalent to a titled Douluo. After fighting with the blizzard crocodile, Wang Feng roughly knew about this soul beast. As the saying goes, no discord, no concord. Anyway, he did not have any killing intent towards this fellow, and only wanted to use it to practice his moves. In the beginning, the blizzard crocodile was very angry and unhappy, and did not want to accept Wang Feng's humiliating request at all. Isn't this clearly treating me as a tool? A 60,000-year blizzard crocodile, among the 10,000-year soul beasts, was in existence at the upper middle level. In the outer region, it was an overlord. Of course, if it went to the inner region of the extreme north, it would be nothing, but it could not take such humiliation. Chapter 468. In the beginning, the violent snow crocodile resisted with all its might, wanting to kill this soul master. But as it fought, it found that this human soul master seemed to be stronger than it. It couldn't resist. The most important thing was that the violent snow crocodile found that as it trained with this human soul master, its cultivation improved rapidly. So, half a year later, roar. Early in the morning, the violent snow crocodile ran to find Wang Feng excitedly. It stood outside the wooden house and roared excitedly, directly disturbing Wang Feng's cultivation. The door of the wooden house opened, and Wang Feng, who was still well rested, walked out and said lazily, "Little crocodile, why are you here so early in the morning? Looking for a beating?" Although the violent snow crocodile had a 60,000-year cultivation, its intelligence wasn't very high, similar to Wang Feng. However, its intelligence was quite high. Although its bloodline wasn't as good as the Titan giant ape, it was similar to the blood-winged dragon beetle. In the past 6 months, the violent snow crocodile had learned to speak human language under Wang Feng's training while enduring beatings. It had to be said that these 60,000-year-old beasts had high intelligence, especially the violent snow crocodile, which was relatively special. In less than 2 months, it had learned to speak human language, but of course, it could only speak human language. In the past 6 months, Wang Feng was full of energy and forcibly improved by 1 level. Reaching rank 48, he was only 2 levels away from rank 50. Wang Feng was confident that he could improve by 2 levels within a year. In fact, Wang Feng was also glad that he didn't kill this violent snow crocodile. Otherwise, cultivating alone in this environment would really suffocate him to death. There wasn't even a person to talk to, and there was nowhere to vent the mental pressure, which could easily cause a blockage in cultivation. No. The violent snow crocodile stuttered a little, but it opened its mouth and roared vigorously. "Then what do you want? I don't plan to fight with you today. You go play by yourself." Wang Feng let out a sigh. Everything paid attention to the balance between work and rest. Today was the first day of the month that Wang Feng set for himself to relax his body and mind. He didn't cultivate, nor did he meditate. He would quietly stay for a day and do some other things to relax his tense mind a little. "Hey, let me show you something." The violent snow crocodile laughed. It spread its wings and shot out a green light, landing in front of Wang Feng. Wang Feng caught it and took a closer look. He was indeed stunned. Wang Feng was stunned. "Using the words you taught me, this is the feather of my goddess. She is the most beautiful soul beast in the outer forest of the extreme north." The violent snow crocodile smiled foolishly. "I was lucky enough to see her feathers yesterday. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see the goddess. Actually, I don't have any thoughts. I just want to see her appearance. I've only seen her a few times in the past few years. Its laughter was somewhat sinister, and the sound it emitted was terrifying, but Wang Feng was incomparably silent. It was a light green feather, and the patterns on it were unusually smooth and glossy. It was obvious that it wasn't a feather from an ordinary soul beast. "Where did you pick it up?" Wang Feng's tone was slightly shaken. "This in the first layer of the inner circle," Violent Snow Crocodile said. "After she went to the inner circle, I rarely saw her figure." Wang Feng took a deep breath and stared at the feather. Ripples appeared in his heart. This feather was Little Qing's feather. There was no mistake. Although it had changed a lot, Wang Feng remembered its aura very clearly. Gently brushing the feather, Wang Feng's eyes narrowed slightly. "Boss Feng, what are you doing? Are you also interested in soul beasts?" At this time, the Violent Snow Crocodile seemed to notice Wang Feng's special atmosphere and couldn't help but ask curiously. Because it had been beaten by Wang Feng too many times, it recognized Wang Feng as its boss. Wang Feng glared at the Violent Snow Crocodile. "If you don't want to be beaten today, tell me everything you know about this soul beast." In the past 6 months, Wang Feng had never stopped looking for Little Qing. However, he didn't think of telling the Violent Snow Crocodile about it. He didn't expect this Violent Snow Crocodile to know Little Qing. Listening to its words, it seemed that Little Qing was quite famous in the extreme north. Wang Fengxin breathed a sigh of relief and was also a little excited. This proved that he was right. Little Qing was indeed in the extreme north. You want to know about our outer circle's goddess Qing Huang? I won't tell you. The violent snow crocodile glared at Wang Feng aggressively. You, a human, dare to have ideas about a soul beast? Wang Feng, boom, boom, boom. Immediately afterward, there was a violent beating. It was as if the sky was falling and the earth was turning upside down. The entire space was shaking. Boss Feng, don't beat me, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. The violent snow crocodile's ice armor was broken, and there were a few big bumps on its head. It said aggrievedly, I'll tell you. Wang Feng clapped his hands and listened to the violent snow crocodile talk about Little Qing. In fact, the violent snow crocodile didn't know much. He had only seen Little Qing a few times. The first time was more than 4 years ago. According to Wang Feng's calculation, it was almost the time when Little Qing disappeared with these two guys. It's a very, very good-looking bird. It has a big head, long wings, and a beautiful body. Wang Feng quickly interrupted the violent snow crocodile's description. It couldn't be helped. This guy had just learned how to speak human language and didn't know how to describe it at all. However, Wang Feng roughly understood that it should be Little Qing. Wang Feng remembered the last time he saw Little Qing. Little Qing had grown very big and was much taller than him. Its pair of eyes were incomparably lively. There is a special golden flower mark on its forehead, the violent snow crocodile continued. Hearing this, Wang Feng roughly knew that it must be Little Qing, that warlike guy. Because Wang Feng used the golden lotus to restore it many times, it should have mutated. There was a faint golden lotus mark on its forehead. Although it's very beautiful, it's also very powerful. When it first came to the extreme north, there was a beast that bullied her 2 companions. She directly destroyed that beast along with its clan. When the violent snow crocodile said this, its eyes were shining, but its cultivation is actually not high. It is only less than 30,000 years, but is really super powerful. 30,000 years of cultivation. It was similar to Wang Feng's estimation. Now that 4 years had passed, Little Qing should be stronger. Later, in the outer circle, she became one of the few overlords. She brought her 2 companions and swept away most of the soul beasts in the outer circle. At that time, I felt that I might not be able to defeat the 3 of them. Plus, I admired her very much, so I thought that she was the boss. The violent snow crocodile didn't seem to have the self-awareness of a 60,000-year soul beast. Its tone was like a bootlicker. Wang Feng shook his head and didn't say anything. Bootlickers are really everywhere. She became the recognized, most beautiful and powerful soul beast in our outer circle. She is the goddess in the hearts of many soul beasts. There are also 2 companions beside her. One of them is also very good-looking. It is a very beautiful star moon fox and is also very powerful. The violent snow crocodile said with some reminiscence. Wang Feng listened in silence. It seems that those 3 little guys came to the extreme north and did something big. But it was also because of this that Wang Feng roughly knew what they might have encountered. There is also a handsome ice emperor lizard, but they seem to have mutated and are different from the same type of soul beast. When I was in the inner circle, I saw a 70,000-year ice emperor lizard, but it didn't give me a special feeling. It only has a cultivation of more than 10,000 years. Chapter 469. The 3 little guys had been healed by the Golden Lotus, and Wang Feng had used all the power of the Golden Lotus to heal them. Naturally, they weren't special. We call her Qing Huang, in the outer circle. She's the dream of many 10,000-year soul beasts in the outer circle. She's also very similar to the legendary phoenix soul beast. However, the violent snow crocodile's tone suddenly became gloomy. However, about 10 months ago, Qing Huang-Er's beauty and strength finally alarmed the powerful soul beasts in the inner circle. It's a soul beast close to 100,000 years. Even in the inner circle of soul beasts, he was a true powerhouse that could dominate a region. And it's not an ordinary soul beast. It's an ancient soul beast with a special bloodline. the mountain sea ice dragon whale. It has two powerful bloodlines, the mountain sea ice dragon whale and the mountain sea ice dragon whale. It dominated the sea, land, and air. It came to the outer circle and crazily pursued Qing Huang. It said that the outer circle's forest had been contracted by it. She can't run away. Hearing this, Wang Feng. But goddess Qing Huang didn't accept the pursuit of the inner circle's soul beast overlord. She didn't care about it. The mountain sea ice dragon whale was furious and massacred all the 10,000-year soul beasts in the outer circle who supported her. I escaped because I stayed in a more remote place. I wanted to go there at first, but when I arrived, I found that there was a river of blood. The violent snow crocodile's tone was a little strange. But I didn't see Qing Huang Er's blood. On the contrary, there was the blood of the mountain sea ice dragon whale. Hearing this, Wang Feng was slightly stunned. No matter how strong the three of them were, it was impossible for them to defeat the mountain sea ice dragon whale that the violent snow crocodile was talking about. It had two ancient bloodlines. It was reasonable to say that it wasn't inferior to the Great Ming and the two Ming bloodlines. Even if it didn't have 100,000 years of cultivation, it should be comparable to some ordinary soul beast with 100,000 years of cultivation, right? It was definitely not something that the three of them could defeat. What happened? Wang Feng frowned and asked. He vaguely guessed something, but he wasn't sure. Could it be that she also had 100,000 years of cultivation? No. At that time, Qing Huang only had a cultivation of less than 40,000 years. She was far from being a match for this mountain sea ice dragon whale. Even with her two companions, it was still not enough. The Star Moon Fox was only 20,000 years old, and that Icy Emperor Lizard was not even 20,000 years old. The Blizzard Alligator shook his head. Besides, at that time, the mountain sea ice dragon whale had a few subordinates. They were not weak. As one of the overlords of the extreme North's inner circle, it was normal for him to have a few subordinates. Then what happened? Is the mountain sea ice dragon whale injured? Wang Feng asked. The violent snow crocodile laughed and said, "This is what attracted us to Qing Huang. Not only is she beautiful, but she is also very smart." At that time, she didn't face the mountain sea ice dragon whale directly. Instead, she went to lure a human expert. This human is very powerful. He's equivalent to 100,000-year soul beast. She lured him to the ice dragon whale and caused them to fight. The battle between the two of them changed the color of the sky and earth in the outer ring of the forest. Unfortunately, the human expert was no match for them and was forced to retreat. The mountain sea ice dragon whale was also severely injured. Qing Huang took advantage of the chaos to escape with her two companions. However, I heard that her two companions were not as strong as her. When they retreated, they were severely injured and separated from her. After that, she found out that her two companions had become soul rings of humans and disappeared. She immediately rushed into the inner ring of the forest to seek revenge on the mountain sea ice dragon whale. Hearing this, Wang Feng understood everything. He had thought it through. So that was the case. Yiya and Xing were both injured by the shockwaves of the battle between the mountain sea ice dragon whale and that titled Dalu. No wonder Yiya had the scars of titled Dalu on her body. Xing was probably the same. However, she might have landed near Hulaina. Furthermore, this titled Dalu was most likely from the Martial Soul Hall and brought Hulaina to the extreme north to obtain soul rings. This was because Wang Feng calculated that Hulaina was only rank 54. After absorbing Xing's soul ring, she could increase by at least 2 to 3 ranks. This was because Xing was not an ordinary 20,000-year soul beast. It was a mutated soul beast that had been healed and evolved many times by the Golden Lotus. In addition, it was compatible with Hulaina's martial soul. Little Qing was not hunted down by the titled Dalu. Instead, she made use of this titled Dalu. After that, I never heard from her again. It has been almost a year, and I have never seen her, the violent snow crocodile said regretfully. I thought she went to the inner ring of the forest to seek revenge on the mountain sea ice dragon whale. I didn't expect her to still be alive. At this point, the violent snow crocodile was a little excited. It pouted its mouth at the green feather in Wang Feng's hand and said, "I was bored yesterday, so I went to the inner ring of the forest. I didn't expect to see her feather. I was so happy that I wanted to share it with you. I didn't expect a human like you to be interested in Qing Huang." After hearing this, a fierce look flashed across Wang Feng's eyes. The mountain sea ice dragon whale. Wang Feng looked at the forest in the inner ring of the forest in the distance. He wanted to rush in at the next moment, but his rationality told him that he would be courting death if he went in now. There was no information at all. He didn't even know where little Qing was. There were too many soul beasts in the inner ring of the extreme north. Once he went in, it would be difficult to escape even if he could teleport. Without enough strength, he couldn't go in. Where's the mountain sea ice dragon whale? Wang Feng's face was a little gloomy. Why are you asking this? The violent snow crocodile sized up Wang Feng. Boss Feng, are you thinking of looking for the mountain sea ice dragon whale? Don't tell me you fell in love with Qing Huang. I advise you to give up this idea. Qing Huang, it doesn't even like us beasts, let alone a human like you. If you want to find the mountain sea ice dragon whale to seek revenge for Qing Huang, or forget it. He is an overlord-class soul beast in the inner ring. Even if he doesn't have a 100,000-year cultivation, he is still stronger than those 100,000-year soul beasts. He also has a lot of subordinates. You will be courting death if you go there. Of course, I still admire your courage. The violent snow crocodile was right. As an overlord-class soul beast in the inner ring, the mountain sea ice dragon whale was undoubtedly powerful. According to Wang Feng's estimation, it was at least equivalent to a rank 94 or even rank 95 transcendent Douluo. Even if it was injured, it definitely wouldn't be weaker than the two-titled Douluo in the Pope's palace that day. When he was in his best state that day, even the two-titled Douluo could only have the upper hand. He couldn't kill them at all. How could he defeat this mountain sea ice dragon whale? Even if he created his own spear technique, his opponent wasn't just a soul beast. It had a lot of subordinates. For example, the violent snow crocodile was probably in the top 5 of the mountain sea ice dragon whale subordinates. But if he reached rank 50, it would be different. Violent snow crocodile, from today onwards, you and I will go to the inner ring every other day. Wang Feng said calmly, I want to know how powerful the mountain sea ice dragon whale is and find little Qing. The news of Qing Huang that you mentioned. No problem. It's just a trip. Moreover, I also want to find news of Goddess Qing Huang. P.S. I have to rush back to my hometown today and tomorrow. I only write 7 or 8 chapters a day. It's almost the new year, so I might not be able to keep up with 10 chapters for the time being. But I will write at least 50,000 words a day. Chapter 470. The sudden news of little Qing disrupted Wang Feng's cultivation plan a little, but Wang Feng was not reckless and impulsive. Instead, he prepared very methodically. It was not so simple to defeat the mountain sea ice dragon whale. If he went straight up, he would only suffer. Wang Feng did not want to be in the same situation as the martial spirit hall. He wanted to win for sure. Once he made his move, he would kill. He could not afford any mistakes. While cultivating, he continued to let the blizzard crocodile inquire about little Qing. At the same time, he inquired about the mountain sea ice dragon whale. At this time, Wang Feng was quite glad that he did not kill the blizzard crocodile. As a soul beast, the blizzard crocodile mixed in with the soul beasts. Even if it went to the inner circle, it would be much safer than a human soul master. Because soul beasts and humans were hostile to each other. Once Wang Feng entered the inner circle alone and found other powerful soul beasts, the other party's first reaction was to attack. But the blizzard crocodile was different. This guy had been in the extreme north for so many years. In addition, soul beasts had a certain communication channel. It was very suitable to use it as a tool to inquire about information. If he killed it before, Wang Feng would not even know about little Qing. Wang Feng was different from the humans in the Douluo world. He did not have much killing intent towards soul beasts, nor was he so hostile. Just like this, Wang Feng and the blizzard crocodile secretly entered the inner circle every other day to search. He did not neglect his cultivation. Coupled with the misty shadow soul skill in the skull, Wang Feng could enter the inner circle with another layer of protection. But in the next few months, the blizzard crocodile and Wang Feng did not find any news about Little Qing. The inner circle of the extreme north was too big. There was a core area in the depths. According to the blizzard crocodile, there were soul beasts that were so powerful that his soul trembled. Wang Feng vaguely knew a little. The distribution of forces in the extreme north was quite different from what Wang Feng knew. There were several overlords in the inner circle. In the human world, they were all titled Douluo. Moreover, in this ice and snow environment, their innate strength was enhanced. Therefore, titled Dalu would not enter the inner circle without permission. Little Qing lured the martial spirit hall's titled Dalu because the mountain sea ice dragon whale came to the outer circle. As for the mountain sea ice dragon whale, it also had several powerful subordinates, each with at least 70,000 years of cultivation, and some with even 80,000 years of cultivation. However, in comparison, it wasn't considered a very strong and rare soul beast. It wasn't as strong as the blizzard crocodile. Other than that, there were also many 10,000-year soul beasts scattered throughout the ice dragon whale's territory. There were at least 50 or 60 of them. Logically speaking, Wang Feng was really taken aback upon hearing this number. Even if this mountain sea ice dragon whale were to be placed in the human world, it would still be a hegemon. One titled Daw, several soul Dalu, and 50 to 60 soul emperors and soul kings. But fortunately, in the land of extreme north, there were not many such factions. Just what the violent blood crocodile knew, there were merely 5 major factions. The mountain sea ice dragon whale was the weakest. One could imagine how dangerous the far north was. However, this was also due to the ice dragon whale's unique bloodline. The other 4 overlords were all soul beasts that were over 100,000 years old. The fact that the mountain sea ice dragon whale was able to become one of the most powerful soul beasts, even with a cultivation of over 90,000 years, was a testament to its incredible intelligence and bloodline aptitude that far exceeded that of normal soul beasts. It also had a bunch of underlings. Such strength was not enough compared to the 2 human empires, but it was much stronger than those dukedoms and kingdoms. Boss Feng, it's not that I want to criticize you. Although you are very strong individually, you can only defeat the mountain sea ice dragon whale with just the 2 of us. The violent snow crocodile chuckled. Even if you can defeat the mountain sea ice dragon whale, it is very smart. It will call a bunch of underlings to attack you. You won't be able to escape then. Wang Feng. After another half a year, Wang Feng finally reached rank 49. However, as he learned more about the mountain sea ice dragon whale's strength, Wang Feng's frown deepened. The violent snow crocodile's words were exactly what Wang Feng was worried about. Rank 50 alone might not be enough. These soul beasts were highly intelligent. Even if he reached rank 50 and maxed out his Panga's axe, would he be able to leave this place alive if he were to challenge the ice dragon whale alone? Although the red lotus karmic fire and the god-slaying spear could cause fatal damage to a life form of this level, it would not be so easy to kill the mountain sea ice dragon whale in a short time. Once the battle dragged on, the mountain sea ice dragon whale would ignore him. Furthermore, most of the soul beasts living in the extreme north were ice-type or mixed-type soul beasts. In such an environment, their strength would increase greatly. Even if he used the Ice Flame Fury Lotus, he would not be able to kill many unless he could use it continuously. However, the Ice Flame Fury Lotus needed a short period of time to accumulate power. The mountain sea ice dragon whale would not allow him to use it continuously. Wang Feng felt that he was very strong, but he was still not strong enough. He was not strong enough to suppress an organization. Right now, he had to use all his strength to kill an ordinary titled Dalu. Boss Feng, why don't you take in a few underlings too? The violent snow crocodile laughed again. In the past half a year, after you used that little flower to heal me, I feel that I have become much stronger. I have at least increased my cultivation by more than 5,000 years. It is almost 70,000 years of cultivation, and I feel that my ability has become much stronger too. It's very useful. The most important thing is that the aura on your body is not as annoying as that of those humans. The violent snow crocodile's words suddenly woke Wang Feng up. Ha! Wang Feng slapped the violent snow crocodile's head. Yes, why didn't I think of this? Wang Feng had always been focused on increasing his own strength. However, increasing one's strength was a gradual process. It cannot be achieved overnight. He had never thought of, if he took in a few underlings, he could at least fight his way to the mountain sea ice dragon whale, right? He did not ask for much. It would be fine as long as they could block the mountain sea ice dragon whale's underlings. He would be done after dealing with the mountain sea ice dragon whale. He had the golden lotus. The golden lotus's effect had always been beyond Wang Feng's imagination. It was not that the golden lotus was the most impressive. In fact, the 4 forms of the green lotus were almost the same in terms of abilities. It was just that the most suitable situation for the green lotus to unleash its abilities to the greatest extent. For example, when he faced the 2-titled Dalu, the soul-slaying spear was the most suitable. In a large-scale battle, the red lotus's ability was the strongest. It could also use karmic fire to kill people without leaving a trace. Wang Feng dared to guarantee that the 2 soul Dalu from the martial soul hall who attacked him back then would have died long ago. It could also temper the body. It could be said that the effect was equally great. The black lotus was the same. It could protect the lives of his teammates and himself at critical moments. Without the black lotus, he might have died in the Great Stardow Forest. Tang San and the others were saved by the black lotus several times, especially in the Pope's palace. If the black lotus did not appear in time and block the attack of the 2-titled Dalu, the situation would be completely different now. End of this chapter. Chapter 471. At that time, without the black lotus, Tang San would have been caught and attacked. Without the hammer, Wang Feng would have been dead by now. It could also absorb aura and store soul power for its own cultivation and use. Needless to say, the Soul Slayer Spear had the strongest attack. In a one-on-one battle, it was second only to the Pango Axe. Therefore, there was no saying which of these 4 forms was stronger. It depended on how one used them to maximize their power. The Golden Lotus was the first form of the Green Lotus, and its effect had always been very strong. Apart from the most basic recovery and healing abilities, the Golden Lotus at full power would emit a pure golden energy. It possessed all sorts of mysteries, and the most unique ability was that it could allow living beings to become stronger and even mutate. Those 3 little guys were like that. Later, Wang Feng used the Golden Lotus to mature a few immortal herbs to the greatest effect. In the past 6 months, the blizzard crocodile had suffered a lot of injuries because of fighting with him. Wang Feng felt that he had to raise this sandbag a little stronger, so he used the Golden Lotus to revive it a few times. It had to be said that in the past 6 months, it had indeed become a lot stronger. The icicles on its body had become harder and more resistant to beatings. Sometimes, Wang Feng's emotion-severing god could not cause fatal damage to it. The wind wings on its back were also dyed with a light golden color. The strong damage of the whistling hurricane was much stronger than when Wang Feng first encountered it. Its brain was also sharper, and its speech became more and more fluent. Now that it had made this suggestion, Wang Feng had never thought about it. "Boss Feng, why did you beat it?" The blizzard crocodile said with some grievance. "Young man, you become a lot smarter." Wang Feng patted the huge body of the blizzard crocodile. "Your idea is very constructive. Boss Feng has decided to accept it. Moreover, taking a few more underlings would be beneficial for him to inquire about Little Qing. After all, the extreme north was so big and there were so many types of soul beasts. It was too slow for one person and one beast to find it. Hee hee, that's good. I'm very familiar with the powerful soul beasts in the outer circle. Many of them knew goddess Qing Huang Er. However, because that bastard ice dragon whale killed a lot of them, those who survived are very afraid. If he knew that you were going to go against the ice dragon whale, he probably wouldn't want to be your underling. The blizzard crocodile scratched its back with its tail. But there are some who are very stubborn and want to take revenge. I know a few of them. Wang Feng nodded. How powerful was the ice dragon whale? How could it fight against it? Wasn't that courting death? The soul beasts in the outer circle weren't stupid. The violent snow crocodile had developed some feelings for Wang Feng over the past 6 months. In addition, it was also a little hot-blooded, so it was naturally not afraid. Therefore, when they knew that Wang Feng wanted to deal with the ice dragon whale, they were not afraid. Instead, they supported him. They just did not want to die for nothing. Just like that, Wang Feng had another goal in his journey to level 50, to recruit underlings. Wang Feng's requirements weren't high. He only wanted 3 to 4 strong beasts. It would be best if they could stop the 60 to 80,000-year-soul beasts under the ice dragon whale. As for those below 60,000 years, Wang Feng's Ice Flame Fury Lotus would have enough time to unleash it as long as his lackeys supported it. Therefore, Wang Feng wasn't afraid at all. There were actually many soul beasts above 10,000 years in the outer circle. However, there were very few that met his requirements. The first soul beast that the violent snow crocodile introduced to Wang Feng was a soul beast called the Ice Kira. It was a terrifying soul beast with the earth and ice attributes. It also had the bloodline of ancient frost beasts. It was a very rare soul beast. If it matured, it wouldn't be inferior to the ice dragon whale. According to the information that the violent snow crocodile knew from the soul beast world, this Ice Kira's father, Ice Kira, was once an overlord in the inner circle. He had a cultivation of over 90,000 years. However, around 100 years ago, he was killed by the ice dragon whale when he was fighting for the position of the 5th overlord. This Ice Kira couldn't have survived. In the end, its mother used some kind of bloodline forbidden technique to send it out. However, its mother died because of this. It had been hiding in the outer forest all these years and didn't appear much. Both parents are dead, and it has a blood feud. It was born with 2 types of ancient bloodlines. It's the main character among soul beasts. After hearing the violent snow crocodile's introduction of the Ice Kira, Wang Feng was shocked. He didn't expect soul beasts to have such special circumstances. Where is it now? Wang Feng asked. If the violent snow crocodile was true, then this Ice Kira was a good choice. After all, the ice dragon whale had a blood feud with it. It usually only lives in the ice mountains or the earth. I was fortunate enough to see it once. The violent snow crocodile was anxious. However, it only has a cultivation of over 40,000 years. It doesn't even have 50,000 years. It especially hates other soul beasts finding it. The last time I found it, it wanted to kill me. Fortunately, I ran away quickly. Run? You can't beat it? Wang Feng asked. You can't beat a 40,000-year soul beast with 60,000 years of cultivation? It's really Ice Kira. The violent snow crocodile's face turned red. It can't be helped. It is a little against me. That guy has the bloodline of ancient frost beasts. When it fights, it is crazy and can use the power of the earth to seal me. I can't fly away. In addition, it has a huge body and is a few meters taller than me. It is very heavy. My hurricane can't blow it away. The violent snow crocodile explained frantically. However, my hurricane has evolved and is stronger now. It definitely can't beat me. Furthermore, don't I still have you, Boss Feng? Wang Feng smiled. Bring me to it. The violent snow crocodile nodded and brought Wang Feng to find it. After walking for more than 10 kilometers to the west from the wooden house, the surrounding snow and trees were much fewer. Although they weren't close to the inner circle, the temperature had dropped. Just as the violent snow crocodile said, the Ice Kira would affect the surrounding temperature. The place where it was located would be much lower than the outer circle. Wang Feng sensed that the nearby temperature was close to -70 degrees. It was more than 20 degrees. This showed that the ice Kira was indeed very strong. Soon, the violent snow crocodile brought Wang Feng out of the ice forest in the outer circle. Looking ahead, there was a stretch of ice mountains that were undulating, and the scenery was quite good. It was about a few kilometers away from them. At this moment, there were a few rumbling sounds in front of them, as if something was fighting. "Quick, Boss Foam, it's that guy's aura. It seems that he is still fighting," the violent snow crocodile said and flew into the air. "Just in case, I will fly first." Wang Feng, one man and one beast, walked for about a few hundred meters before Wang Feng finally saw what was going on. In front of them, there was a giant beast that was more than 10 meters tall that was fighting with an ice shark. The giant beast's body was extremely huge, and its whole body was ice blue. It was standing, and its whole body was in the shape of a trapezoid. The higher it was, the smaller it was, and the lower it was, the bigger it was. Especially the lower half of its body. In the abdomen, there was a yellow crystal, but it was incomparably dark. Its legs were thicker than those ice trees, and its hands were several times smaller. Its head was much smaller than its body, about the size of 3 or 4 heads of a normal human. It looked a bit like the Godzilla in Wang Feng's memory of his previous life. In a chapter 472. But it wasn't that big. It was much smaller. It was also more aesthetically pleasing. After all, it had an ice blue body. The ice crystals on its body were like armor. If one looked at it from afar, one would think that it was an iceberg. Wang Feng and the violent snow crocodile watched for a while and didn't intend to make a move. Because that ice shark wasn't its opponent at all. It was a one-sided trampling. This ice shark was just an ordinary 10,000-year-old beast that lived mostly in ice rivers. Although it had a cultivation of around 40,000 years, it was simply a little brother in front of this ice Kira. The ice Kira stepped on the ice shark's stomach and stomped out a colorful thing. Then it grabbed the ice shark's tail and swung it around crazily. Not long after, that ice shark died. But the ice Kira didn't stop and continued to ravage crazily. That ice shark is already dead. Why isn't it stopping? Does it have violent tendencies? Wang Feng clicked his tongue secretly. But this kind of soul beast had violent tendencies. It was normal for it to vent its anger. That's not it. It usually doesn't make a move. The violent snow crocodile shook its head. It is whipping the corpse. It must ravage that ice shark into a pile of meat before it stops. Using Boss Feng's human words, it is being cautious. Wang Feng was stunned. "Why? I roughly know this," the violent snow crocodile whispered. When its father fought with the ice dragon whale, its father was stronger. It thought that it had killed the ice dragon whale and turned to leave confidently. In the end, it was killed by the ice dragon whale. At that time, it should have seen this scene, so it developed this habit of whipping corpses. Wang Feng, why do you soul beasts have such a story? Looking at the ice shark that gradually turned into a pile of meat, Wang Feng's mouth twitched. This ice Kira was obviously very strong, but it was being overly cautious. Right at this moment, the ice Kira was ravaging the ice shark with its whip when it suddenly swung it. This swing was directly aimed at Wang Feng. Wang Feng was caught off guard. The ice shark's flesh and blood scattered. The violent snow crocodile quivered and spread its wings. It directly burst out a hurricane and blew the flesh and blood away. Wang Feng gently stomped his foot and burst out a terrifying aura, scattering the flesh and blood. Roar! However, that wasn't the end. The ice Kira quickly attacked Wang Feng. His body was huge, and his speed did not seem fast. However, every step he took covered a distance of more than 10 meters. Moreover, with every step he took, countless icicles gushed out from the surrounding icy ground. These icicles were at least more than 10 meters tall. When they stood up, they wrapped Wang Feng and the blizzard crocodile like dumplings. From afar, Wang Feng and the violent snow crocodile seemed to be covered by an ice nest, and they were trapped. Roar, roar, roar. The violent snow crocodile hurriedly roared a few times at the ice Jira. It seemed to be fusing its spiritual consciousness into the roar and transmitting it to the other party. The ice Jira's momentum paused, and it slowly stopped. Following that, the two soul beasts began to roar. Wang Feng watched quietly. Soul beasts had a special way of communicating with their minds. Usually, they would fuse their voices with their roars to form a special language. If one wasn't familiar with this method of spiritual communication, they wouldn't be able to sense it. When Xingxing met Wang Feng for the second time, she was already able to communicate with Wang Feng in this way. This was because he had been healed twice by the Golden Lotus and gained a lot of intelligence. Right now, Wang Feng didn't know about the Ice Jira's spiritual consciousness. The Ice Jira obviously didn't know how to speak human language. The violent snow crocodile only learned to speak human language after being taught by Wang Feng for half a year. After another half a year, it became more fluent. As it roared, the Ice Jira seemed to have touched on something sad and became angry. His bean-sized eyes were filled with a blood-red light. "What did you say?" Wang Feng's eyes narrowed. The violent snow crocodile was sweating profusely as he replied, "I said, don't you know how your parents died? As long as you submit to Boss Feng, my boss can help you take revenge and help you become stronger. He might even help you find Wang Feng, this stupid eagle crocodile, who wouldn't be angry when he brought up someone's sad matter." However, the violent snow crocodile wasn't a negotiation expert. It wasn't wise for him to persuade the Ice Jira like a fool. Seeing the increasingly violent Ice Jira, Wang Feng frowned and said, "I will fight with him. You go down." For soul beasts, strength was everything. There was nothing to say. Wang Feng didn't expect the violent snow crocodile to persuade the Ice Jira. He only wanted the violent snow crocodile to state his intentions, but, "Boss Feng, you have to be careful. I won't help you. 2 against 1 isn't fair. He won't be convinced." The violent snow crocodile laughed. "This fellow is very strong. The more you fight, the stronger he gets. If you accidentally activate his bloodline power, Boss Feng, you will be beaten up." The blizzard crocodile's understanding of Wang Feng was still stuck in the situation where Wang Feng only used one gear to apply the deified state. He didn't know anything about Wang Feng's strength. Wang Feng snorted coldly. As he looked at the Ice Jira, a black light flashed across his eyes. He hid his mysterious underworld armor and entered second gear. Divine transformation, soul-devouring blood wings. He quickly entered third gear, which was close to fourth gear. Wang Feng didn't use third gear and fourth gear very often. Third gear was the foundation of second gear. He only used his divine transformation soul skills to control the mysterious underworld armor to hide and block the enemy's attacks. Fourth gear was to use all of his soul skills. Other than using his divine transformation soul skills, Wang Feng also used the soul-slaying spear soul skills. He planned to end the battle as soon as possible and not give his opponent any chance to fight back. Because of the absolute wind thunder spear technique, Wang Feng had become much stronger. Otherwise, he would have needed to use third gear to train with the violent snow crocodile. With the absolute wind thunder spear technique, he only needed to use first gear to use his divine transformation soul skills to directly beat up the violent snow crocodile. As the 2 blood wings on his back flashed, Wang Feng's body was surrounded by golden lightning as he used his divine transformation soul skill. A cool breeze blew. Wang Feng's aura soared. The violent snow crocodile behind him was astonished. It had seen the golden lightning on Wang Feng's body before. Wang Feng often used it during training because only by using his divine transformation soul skills could he use the first style of the absolute wind thunder god. However, the violent snow crocodile had never seen the blood wings on Wang Feng's back and the mysterious long spear with blood-colored patterns. "My goodness, what is this?" The violent snow crocodile swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked at the fierce long spear in Wang Feng's hand. It could naturally feel the terrifying aura contained in the long spear. "It's the aura of the blood-winged dragon beetle. Looking at the situation, it should be stronger than me," the violent snow crocodile thought for a moment. "That beast is extremely ferocious and doesn't have any bestial instincts. Normally, it wouldn't appear here, but it's notorious. We only have mutated ice-winged dragon beetles here. It had lived in the extreme north for many years and had some understanding of most of the soul beasts. At this moment, the ice Kira on the opposite side also felt the terrifying aura that Wang Feng was emitting. A hint of vigilance appeared in its blood-colored eyes. End of chapter. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.